The players take the knee pre-match, which gets a round of applause across Villa Park. And now Erling Haaland will get the game underway. Manchester City shooting from left to right as we look inside this first half. Aston Villa right to left, and straight away Ruben Dias has it in possession for City. The clocks have gone back, and Manchester City want to get their title charge, or continue their title charge, with 3 points here at the stadium. As I say, they've not had the best record at losing in the past couple of seasons. Early touch for Savinho on the left-hand side for City, and Blue Moon rings out from the away supporters. Ruben Dias knocks it wide to Matthias, who's gone short sleeves at right back, wearing that bandage on his left arm. He has possession for City, and now Diaz on the edge of his own penalty area. And since Donnarumma's come in, Steve, they've been much more solid, haven't they?
Yes, they have, and assured and confident. They don't go back to him much with the back pass, but obviously the main job, being a goalkeeper, keeping the ball out the goal, he's the best in the world. Yeah,
he's made a big difference to Manchester City already. Conceded just 4 goals in his 8 games so far, and 5 clean sheets as the Blues move the ball to Vardiol, left-hand side, just inside the City half. That's an overhit, sloppy ball though, crossfield towards Matthias, and it runs out for an Aston Villa throw-in, an uncharacteristic error early on from Joško Vardiol.
Yeah, and it is John Stones. He's operating as a right centre-back, but every opportunity already trying to jump into midfield 10-15 yards, and he's actually up and back those 10 and 15 yards half a dozen times already.
Digne with a throw-in for Aston Villa goes down the line towards Ollie Watkins, who keeps his place in the starting 11. Ball bounces off Matthias and runs out for another Villa throw-in, almost directly in front of our commentary position as they attack the north stand in this first half. The Manchester City travelling supporters directly opposite us, and we saw plenty of goals scored from long throw-ins yesterday in the Premier League. Sunderland, Brentford amongst them. How about this one? Digne with a long throw in, it goes into the City penalty area. Haaland contests, bounces to the edge of the box, and there's a shot on the volley from Emi Buendia, but that goes high and wide and out for a City goal kick.
Yeah, that's what they've got to guard against with the long throw. It wasn't overly long, but it's not the first part of the throw that's the nervous bit or the challenge. It's the headed first contact from either player, and normally the shot that comes from the edge of the box, and we've just seen that with Aston Villa and Buendia.
Yeah, Buendia's in good form. 3 goals in his last 5 games, although he did miss the penalty in that Europa League game in the Netherlands on Thursday. John Stones has it for City in the right back position into Foden. First time ball to Reinders. That's a nice return pass from Tijani Reinders, and Phil Foden is now bursting through the centre of the field into the centre circle, works it wide to Bernardo, and now another touch for Savinho, the Brazilian, with a chance to run at Matty Cash for City. Thinks about the left-footed cross, will go again on the outside. Savinho's ball in, and it's in the end safely gathered by Emi Martinez. But Savinho, we saw him, didn't we, at Huddersfield, really. That's where his recent revival started, Steve, and he's been in improved form for City in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think he would prefer playing on this Oscar Bob position on the right, so he could come in on his left foot and shoot from there. City have just stole the ball there. And but back to Savinho, yeah, he's playing high wide on that left-hand side at the moment, and he's in the game immediately.
Unai Emery with both hands above his head applauding his player's effort, but City have won the ball back. Phil Foden has it. Now it rolls it back to Reinders, square ball to Vardiol, and again it goes back to Savinho on the left for Manchester City. A chance for Savinho again to go at Matty Cash. Clearly fancies his chances against him, and he'll go on the outside again towards the byline. Savinho's low ball into the penalty area. This time that's intercepted by Kamara, and Villa should bring it clear. Now Buendia picks it up halfway inside his own half. Chance for him to run at Manchester City. Watkins ahead of him. Ball played through. Diaz gets an important interception in and diverts the ball back to Donnarumma, but Aston Villa dangerous on the break straight away.
Yeah, he's not slow, Ruben Diaz, by any means, but a foot race with Ollie Watkins. Thankfully he had the extra yard to begin with positionally that allowed him to get the ball safely back to Donnarumma.
John Stones has stepped into midfield for City, brings the ball forward. Now it goes left to Savinho on that left-hand touchline, halfway inside the Aston Villa half, and that's his 3rd run straight at the fullback, down to Bernardo Silva towards the byline, cuts it across the box or behind everybody, and it'll run all the way out on the far side of the field. But Manchester City having joy down their left, the Aston Villa right in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're having good play on the right hand side, Mark, in build-up. John Stones, Phil Foden, Oscar Bob with delicate touches, but the ball is very quickly going into the high left position for Bernardo Silva and Savinho, who've both had raids against Matty Cash and put balls into the box, so it's encouraging for Manchester City.
It was just behind Erling Haaland. Pau Torres pulled his leg away, actually. Could have diverted that into his own goal. City have won the ball back from the Villa throw. Here's Savinho. Haaland's lurking. Savinho tries to play it through to Erling Haaland, but just gets too much on that, and it's through to Emi Martinez in the Aston Villa goal.
City really keen this season, and certainly today already, keen to pass the football up to the front three players, the attackers, and through the gaps that the defenders leave as well. So City are showing urgency, they're showing real sophistication with the football at the moment. Aston Villa doing a little bit on the counter-attack as we expected.
Yeah, City 7 wins and 2 draws in their last 9 matches, and as I said, more points and clean sheets than any other team since April. So they've had a good few months of Manchester City after the disappointment of the majority of last season. Here's Oscar Bob, orange boots for him, chance for him to run at Digne, plays it square to Reinders, inside the penalty area to Johnny Reinders, shoots right-footed, that flashes narrowly over Emi Martinez's crossbar, and City looking dangerous when they approach the penalty area.
Yeah, I don't know how you're seeing it, Mark, but I'm seeing it really comfortable with this talented football team that we follow. They're getting right up to the 18-yard box of Aston Villa quite easy at the moment. If this continues, that last pass will be crucial, but I'm expecting City to score.
Looks like it so far. Been very dangerous, those first few attacks through Savinho and then Reinders. Long ball from Emi Martinez towards John McGinn on the halfway line. That'll run out for a Manchester City throw-in. So we've played 6 minutes. It's Aston Villa 0, Manchester City 0. Live on Total Sport from Villa Park. I can see the flags flustering in the breeze. It's been overcast and raining all the way down here to the West Midlands today. City be desperate to end their recent poor run in this stadium and get an important 3 points with Arsenal in action, goalless against Palace at the moment. Foden into Bob, gets it back. Now Phil Foden's got space again. City get up to the edge of the penalty area easily. Foden puts a little bit too much on that as he tries to return it to Oscar Bob. Pep Guardiola's not happy, throws his hands in the air as all the best Oscar Bob can do in the end is knock it out for a Villa throw-in.
I'm not unhappy because we're still probing, but it's the subtle form of Phil Foden who's dropping into deep positions, and he's just playing triangle football at the moment, just lending the ball and pushing the ball through gaps. Eventually I think he'll advance towards the Aston Villa goal and shoot. For now he's just orchestrating in the right wing position with his magical left foot.
Digne's throw flipped on by Watkins. Stones knocks it away, comes back to Ollie Watkins on the halfway line. Buendia gets a boot in, that's just touched back by Onana, runs back to Martinez. And the Villa goal was linked, of course, with a move away to Manchester United in the summer, but still in the Aston Villa goal, the Argentinian, the World Cup winner, who gives them a great deal of experience in that position. Ball's in the right-back position for Matty Cash. He scored a screamer earlier in the season at Sunderland, but that's given away. Comes back to Villa in the centre of the field. Bernardo's in there. Referee says play on. Villa player goes down, but Bernardo Silva has it. Now Haaland drops deep to try and maintain possession for City. Stones will knock it wide to Matthias, and back it goes to Ruben Diaz in the middle of the field. It was Morgan Rogers, who's the Villa player, that went down. Scored here in this fixture last season as Villa won 2-1, and that was right in the middle of City's worst run really last season towards Christmas. They're in much better form as they arrive here today. Foden into the penalty area towards Erling Haaland. A little bit too much on it. Cash does well to come across, and he'll just clear it downfield. But again, signs that Phil Foden's in the mood.
Matter of time for me, Mark, the way he is receiving balls like he does on the angle and pushing the ball forward. It's a matter of time before he makes a telling pass.
John Stones has given it away. Aston Villa have it back with Watkins. Knocks it to Morgan Rogers. And now it goes to McGinn, who tries a loop, first time ball towards Watkins. It just skips off the surface though with the rain falling, and Donnarumma comes out and gathers for Manchester City. One ball though nearly got Ollie Watkins in.
I feel that's why Matheus Nunes is picked and playing on the last line, the back line for Manchester City today, because Ollie Watkins' favourite run is into the left channel for Aston Villa, so it makes sense to put the speed and legs of Nunes in there in case there has to be a foot race, which hopefully he'll win.
Goalless at Villa Park. 9 minutes gone. Remember, commentary available today on BBC Sounds. Wherever you are in the UK, you can listen to this game. Take us with you if you're travelling outside of Greater Manchester this afternoon. Matthias for City across the halfway line, right hand side. Foden has moved towards the right. Oscar Bob's right on the touchline. Back it goes to Matthias. Stones will step into midfield again. But it's worked out to Bob. That was nice. Oscar Bob with 52 on his back. Shimmies past Buendia. Oscar Bob, little nutmeg, edge of the penalty area. Foden tries to play it back to him. And Digne gets across to cut it out. But Foden involved in everything again at the moment for Manchester City, who is still attacking down the left-hand side with Savinho up against Cash. Savinho with a left-footed cross. And this one's got a little bit too much on it. It's out for a Villa goal kick.
The best thing about Phil Foden, for me, is the identity that Aston Villa, Buendia, number 10, is the one who's closest to him but doesn't want to defend. He's a talented player in his own right, and when Phil Foden's getting the ball, he doesn't look like Buendia really wants to do the ankle scraping and the dirty work and the chasing back. So Phil Foden's turning 180, 360 all the time and just pushing balls into the penalty area at the moment. It feels like at will. Obviously, I think he'd rather get a bit closer and shoot. I'm expecting that soon.
Unai Emery deep in discussion with Buendia on the halfway line, clearly not happy with something. Villa will go down the left-hand side with Torres into Digne, feeds it into Buendia, back to Digne on the halfway line. That was a nice move. Rodgers plays the ball behind Onana, but he can work it wide to the right-hand side. The Villa fans like that. Matty Cash now halfway inside the Manchester City half. It's a square ball. Back it goes to Onana, and Villa will try and come down the right-hand side with Kamara to Cash, looking for options ahead of him, but he has to feed it backwards. City just happy to let Villa have the ball for a minute. 82% possession in the first 10 minutes for Manchester City in this game.
That's quite outstanding in itself. There obviously needs to be something at the end of their work eventually, but away at Aston Villa, Villa Park, Villa improving with their form. 82% possession's outstanding.
Villa come down the right hand side. Cash will try and play it into Watkins. He gets that ball all wrong, way too much on it, and it drifts out for a Manchester City goal kick. But yeah, really good start from City in this game, and a big few weeks ahead as we get into the winter period. Swansea in the League Cup on Wednesday first, and then it's Bournemouth, Dortmund and Liverpool before that trip to Newcastle. All of those games you'll hear live on BBC Radio Manchester. Matthias has it for City, right back position, left-footed clearance downfield is charged down. Haaland does well, gets up in the air, nods it down to Bernardo. Excellent work from Erling Haaland. Vardiol for City to Savinho on the halfway line, who's not afraid to get on his bike against Matty Cash. Ball comes off Cash and out for a City throw-in, and they're just trying to get the ball wide to him as much as they can in the opening stages of this game, particularly get it into the feet of Phil Foden, who's nearly created a couple of chances already. The closest City have come was probably that Reinders effort, which was narrowly over the top. Bernardo's pulled one back from the byline just behind Erling Haaland, but already knocking at the door are Pep Guardiola's team. He's all dressed all in black on the touchline, hands in pockets, watching on at the moment as Oscar Bob picks up possession just in front of him. Now it's Matthias. Villa have got every single player behind the ball. That's a long diagonal ball from Matthias towards Bernardo Silva, but easily intercepted in the end by Emi Martinez in the Villa goal.
He saw something there, Mateus Nunes from right back, to play a diagonal ball into the box for Bernardo Silva, 60 yards, but I don't think really it's a pass that he's capable of playing.
Onana feeds it to Digne down the line towards Watkins, who goes down. Referee sees nothing wrong with that. Now Reinders has it middle of the field. He's got Kamara snapping at his heels, but City still have possession and just play a lovely little triangle around the three Villa players. And Vardiol now plays the ball forward. McGinn goes in on him, but the ball still released to Savinho, who crosses it into the penalty area. Konza's there and should deal with it. Square ball from Konza to Torres, nearly didn't have enough on it, and Haaland was lurking, but Villa have done well to play themselves out of trouble. Morgan Rogers tries to dink the ball over John Stones, and now he'll feed it to Buendia on the halfway line, who's got Watkins ahead of him. Ollie Watkins a chance to drive down the left hand side for Aston Villa, up against Matthias into the penalty area. Watkins dummies, now looking for someone to lay the ball back to. It went towards Rodgers. Oscar Bob was back doing his defensive duties. City managed to get it away temporarily. Yeah,
we'll stay with Aston Villa though, because they've stepped up their play and the crowd have gone with it, and they're now in the last third just probing themselves. First time we've seen them.
Yeah, it's Onana who turns the ball back to Konza in the centre circle. Watkins did well against Matthias there. That's a slightly loose touch from Onana. Foden was in trying to win possession back, but in the end Pau Torres will roll the ball back to Emi Martinez, and it was Oscar Bob who got back there, Steve Eyre, to do his bit defensively.
Yeah, first bite it was, as I said earlier, about Nunes keeping up with Watkins, but unfortunately Watkins got there first, then chopped the ball back to cross, and Manchester City had 9 players back in numbers, which was great in itself as a unit and a function. But well done to Oscar Bob, basically being in the middle of the penalty area as a right winger for Manchester City, getting the steal on the ball.
First goal of the afternoon in the Premier League, and it's come at Molineux for Burnley. Zian Fleming has scored. Wolves 0, Burnley 1. That's bottom against 17th. And the Wolves yet to win this season. 2 draws and 6 defeats from their first 8 games. Behind in that one, still goalless in those other 2 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon in the Premier League. Arsenal against Palace, Bournemouth against Forest, and here at Villa Park, where it's Aston Villa 0, Manchester City 0. We've played a quarter of an hour. Konza has it for Villa in his own box, chips it out to Matty Cash, who tries to control it on his instep. He's still got the ball. Villa fans want a foul against Savinho, who doesn't feel he's done anything wrong. Michael Oliver gives the free kick to Aston Villa. But both sides have shown intent when they've gone forward in this game, but it's clearly Manchester City dominating possession, Villa looking to play on the counter-attack and sit in.
Yeah, Villa are playing like an away team at their own ground at the moment, which is give up possession, don't concede, and try and get to the 20-minute mark and start having a bit of a go. It feels like we're approaching that on 16 minutes.
Matty Cash has it for Villa, rolls it back to Konza. He's become an England regular under Thomas Tuchel. We're hoping to be in that starting 11 at the World Cup. Now it's Torres to Digne, left back for Aston Villa, played into midfield. Now Buendia, he jinks past Bernardo, and Bob does well, and he's got Greengrass ahead of him. Buendia up towards the edge of the penalty area, plays it into Rodgers. First touch wasn't the best. Now it's Watkins in the box, lays it back. Luca Digne shoots, blocked by John Stones. It was on his wrong foot for Digne, hit it right footed, but the crowd are up at Villa Park, and here come Aston Villa again with Cash down the right hand side. That was a brilliant bit of skill from Buendia. Took out 3 City players, although none of them appeared to get back particularly quickly. But Villa again dangerous, and there was half a chance for Watkins. Ball just didn't really sit right for him in the end, did it, Steve?
No, it didn't, and I was a bit surprised at the reaction of Bernardo Silva, where Buendia went past first. I've not seen that in 8 years. The body language wasn't great in terms of wanting to run back towards his own goal, actually throwing his arms up in the air at somebody. I'm not sure who that would have been. But it ended up with an Aston Villa attack, and whilst Watkins is getting more and more into the game, thankfully it's in the left channel, which he favours, and thankfully also for that reason that it's not going straight through to the goal.
17 minutes gone, Villa 0, Manchester City 0, live on BBC Radio Manchester's Total Sport. That's the former City youth coach Steve Eyre alongside myself, Mark Crossley, here at Villa Park as Torres clears it downfield to Buendia. First touch is excellent from Buendia, looks for options on the halfway line, in it goes to John McGinn, who swivels, maintains possession, and will now play a looped ball over the top towards Morgan Rodgers. Vardiol is there, he should clear it, he doesn't though, and Matty Cash wins it back for Aston Villa, who've come into the game in the last few minutes.
Cat and mouse now, Phil Foden and Buendia, because Buendia is coming into it now and wants to do the attacking. I don't doubt that Phil will be a lot closer to him than the other way round. Also, I would say that Buendia is playing well but starting to limp. Ball
over the top to Digne. Watkins is there if he can pull it back. Challenge from Matthias. Who did that come off last? Michael Oliver doesn't appear to know. Neither did his assistant referee, and in the end they've given a corner to Aston Villa.
Yeah, honestly, the welfare is important, of course, of all footballers, but just as Buendia is starting to run the game for Aston Villa, he is limping quite heavily, but he has shown that he really wants to take this corner, so he must be okay.
Just seen a replay, it did come off Matthias last, so I think it was the right decision in the end, but Michael Oliver wasn't sure, and Buendia is limping, the Argentinian, as he gets a round of applause from the Aston Villa fans by the corner flag down to our left. In fact, he's going to leave it, he's going to walk, he's walked all the way over to take it, and now he's going to let Digne come over to take the corner instead. It could be short, Foden's hovering just in case it is, but it is Buendia who receives possession, short for Aston Villa, plays it into the box. Rodgers knocks it out to Cash in the D. Matty Cash left-footed! Aston Villa take the lead against Manchester City, and it's Matty Cash with a left-footed strike. Donnarumma rooted to the spot. It beat him low down to his left, and Villa take the lead. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0.
I think it's poor from Manchester City. They've got a recognised structure they would have for defending a corner, but it was so obvious that Aston Villa, who do actually acclaim to have a really good set play coach for themselves, that they were doing something when Digne came out of the 6-yard box to mysteriously take the corner, play it short, and the ball was played to the edge of the box. It was clearly a training ground move that you have to give respect to, and Manchester City never moved or adjusted to the game, and they never actually did what the game was bringing them. They never adjusted at all. They just stayed in their marking and zonal structure for a long ball to come in the box that was never coming.
Matty Cash scores his second goal of the season on the money, and it's that golf celebration as he walks down to the corner flag. We saw it at Sunderland, we've seen it again today, and having watched the replay, first touch took it past Bernardo Silva, and then he hit it crisply, left-footed. Donnarumma absolutely nowhere near it, and Villa are beating Manchester City again at Villa Park, as they've done in the past couple of seasons, and you have to say, based certainly on the first 10 minutes or so against the run of play, but Villa have the lead, and Oscar Bob tries to run down the right wing for City, but he's handed out by 2 or 3 players. Buendia's back there, and now Torres will try and thread it through to Watkins. Nice turn from Watkins against Diaz. He's got Cash making the overlapping run if he can find him. He can. Matty Cash driving down the right hand side, tries the early first time cross to Rodgers. Donnarumma reads it though and comes out to the edge of the penalty area to gather, but Aston Villa a goal up, and they've got the wind in their sails at the moment.
Yeah, you say that, and you're quite right too, because the disappointing thing is they just increased how they were playing, the pressure, the speed of everything for 3 or 4 minutes before that set play. Really disappointed with Bernardo Silva's body language at the start of that Aston Villa move when it was done by Buendia. But we go with Haaland.
Bernardo into Erling Haaland. Big chance. Save low down to his right by Martinez. Bernardo found himself in acres of space there. Ball was played through to him almost on his own centrally. Haaland made the run, just took it past Konza into the penalty area, and you almost expected the net to bulge there, but he didn't really get the full weight of his shot in there, and it sort of was a bit of a tame effort in the end.
Yeah, he's scored 4 or 5 like that now for the club. It was the one that he scored in his first game, I think, at West Ham away. We were waiting for it to go into the corner, but obviously you've got a World Cup winning goalkeeper that's spreading himself to the right. It was difficult to score.
Yeah,
it's a chance though.
It is a real chance. Read it well, didn't Martinez, but Haaland will be disappointed with that. Villa still have the ball in their own defensive third. Plenty of City players trying to crowd out McGinn, but in the end he plays it off Bernardo and out for a Villa throw-in, which is received well by the supporters on that far side in the corner. And some thinking for Pep Guardiola to do with City a goal down, challenge in the centre of the park from Boubacar Kamara. That's penalised by the referee Michael Oliver, and Manchester City will have a free kick that Phil Foden will wander over to take. In fact, Pep Guardiola's just speaking at the moment to the fourth official, Rob Jones, about something he's spotted. Maybe not happy with that challenge. But City are loading the penalty area now as Foden prepares to take it. Halfway inside the Aston Villa half, few yards in from the left touchline, puts one hand in the air. Phil Foden, left-footed ball into the box. Martinez comes out, claims it, loses it temporarily, but regains possession. A commanding presence in the penalty area for Aston Villa, and now he tries to release it early towards McGinn. Bernardo does well to hook that out of the air and turn it back to Ruben Diaz. Tijani Reinders now on the halfway line for Manchester City. We've played just over half of this first half, and Matty Cash's goal is the difference if you've just joined us. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. Matthias now has it for the Blues. Reinders wants it short. He'll go to Ruben Diaz, and now it's wide to Joško Vardiol. And Villa back in their shape, and Unai Emery will be really happy with their response after the first 10 minutes. Savinho has it for Manchester City on the left hand side, tries to go round Cash. Cash does well though to take it off him, but Savinho wins it back for City. This is a chance. The Brazilian up towards the byline, pulls it back into the penalty area. It's behind Phil Foden. Oscar Bob comes across, but Rodgers is there for Aston Villa. Nice footwork from him, and he'll bring the ball out. Tries to take it past Reinders and Stones, and in the end he's going to get the free kick.
I'll have to say this early because I think everybody appreciates and admires the skill and the young age of Oscar Bob and the skill and the young age of Savinho, but there's nothing that is obvious in terms of intimidating the opponent, and I'm seeing that in the first 25 minutes here.
Do you want them to be more direct? What do you want them to do in terms of intimidation?
No, they can't. They've just not got it.
They've just not got it.
No, that's just not how they play. They're not physically capable. They're not jet-heeled. They're not two-stone heavier. They're just skillful, lightweight wingers.
Konza's got it for Villa. Now it's Cash. Roll it back to Every Konza. Cross comes Bernardo Silva inside their own penalty area. This is dangerous from Villa. There was a push though from Reinders on Kamara, who goes down. Villa will get the free kick. That was slightly dangerous. Turn towards his own goal. Torres has it now and he'll play it long towards Watkins, who tries a first time layoff to Buendia, who's on his heels, and Diaz comes across. Buendia turns it infield to Digne. Oscar Bob's back there. Buendia, who's having a good game, plays it into the middle of midfield. Ball down from Anana towards Morgan Rogers, who's running to the left channel for Aston Villa towards the corner flag. Across comes Stone. City have got players back. Now it's Digne directly in front of our commentary position. Little dink ball to Buendia. He's looking for other options as Matthias has both hands on him. He goes down. The Villa fans want a free kick. In the end, they're just going to get a throw in. Buendia's gesturing towards the referee to say he got a shove in the back there from Matthias Nunes. But Michael Oliver isn't having any of it. And Aston Villa can launch this ball into the City box again. Another long throw in coming, it feels like, from Digne.
It's the edge of the box. Don't worry about the flight of the ball. I'm confident with that. It's the edge of the box. You've got to worry about. It's not coming anyway. It's gone short.
It has to Buendia. He'll look to play it in right-footed, headed away by Reinders. Now it's Cash. The whole of Villa Park tell him to shoot. He's already got one. Instead, he goes backwards to Kamara and now Martinez. Oh, there's Villa play down. It's Buendia directly in front of us. I think he's gone down off the ball there. He's got both hands on his head.
It's 10 minutes old, that mark, that one. He's been carrying it. Even though he was instrumental in the assist for the goal, he's been playing on one leg for 10 minutes.
Yeah, he looks in pain. And the physio will now come across as the ball goes out of play. And he will be assessed. And he's been the spark again, hasn't he? Had a slightly strange career for Aston Villa. Spent most of last season on loan at Bayer Leverkusen. But he's been in good form. 3 goals in his last 5 games. Involved in the Villa goal here, and now he'll receive some treatment. And we see it so often. It's almost like a timeout, isn't it? As all the players come over to the technical area to speak to the coaching staff. Kolo Touré's there, Pep Guardiola's there. What will the message be, do you think, to those City players 26 minutes in?
Well, they have to start competing and winning the ball again, because we've got no doubt that Manchester City can pass the ball to each other, but they've got to stop Aston Villa having the ball themselves. And one way of doing it is keeping the ball off them, and the other way of doing it is taking it off them. And they're only doing one side of the job at the moment, because Aston Villa, again, as we suspected and were concerned about, are increasingly becoming more physical and fast in this football match.
Bournemouth have taken the lead against Nottingham Forest. They're up to second as things stand. It's Marcus Tavernier, who's a real source of goals, who's got the opener at the Vitality Stadium. Wolves 0, Burnley 1, still goalless at the Emirates between Arsenal and Crystal Palace. Buendia is still receiving treatment as we see a replay
Sancho
of the Matty Cash goal. And Jadon Sancho, he's getting stripped off and could be set to come on. He started in the Europa League at Go Ahead Eagles on Thursday night. In fact, we're just seeing a replay, Steve, actually, of the Villa bench following that goal, and it is the set-piece coach you were talking about, with a big grin on his face. So clearly a predetermined move, which led to Matty Cash striking that in. But it looks like Jadon Sancho will be the early change here for Aston Villa.
And I refuse to call him ex-Manchester City, so I'll go with Jadon Sancho coming on.
And you can certainly call him ex-Manchester United.
Yeah. Disappointing for the Aston Villa fans for Buendia, the assist there. Literally a couple of minutes later, he can hardly walk. But I did suggest so in commentary, in play 10 minutes ago. It's actually good news for Manchester City, but we hope the player's alright. But he was increasingly becoming the best player on the pitch.
He was. He's just taken off his right boots as he walks towards the tunnel area with 2 members of the Villa medical staff for assistance. And Jadon Sancho is on, gets a round of applause from Ollie Watkins and gets a chorus of boos from the Manchester City fans on the far side of the field, wearing 19. In fact, he's not even ready. He's down trying to tie up his boots as McGinn tries to break forward. Sancho now will do his boots. The referee's given, what's he given here? He's given Aston Villa a free kick in the middle of the field.
He's only just got off a flight. I think we can forgive him.
Konza for Villa knocks it into Kamara, and now back to Cash on the right hand side, the scorer, the only goal in this game, as Villa roll the ball all the way back to Emi Martinez in front of the Hull end. To our right hand side, Unai Emery hasn't left his technical area in this first half hour. He's still pointing to where he wants the ball to go. Digne plays it into Kamara again. Bob's across there and Foden, but Villa play the ball out. They've done that a few times now. First touch for Sancho, into Rodgers, gets it back. Matthias comes across, ball runs to McGinn, plays it through to Watkins. I think he's offside, but Ollie Watkins has it inside the Manchester City penalty area. Watkins rolls it back. Sancho snatches at his shot, but he's still got the ball. Back it will come to the edge of the box. Now it's McGinn who shoots! Left-footed in the D. That flash is just wide of Donnarumma's left-hand post. It was a great chance in the end. I think it got a slight deflection and it's out for a Villa corner.
Yeah, many football players and football teams have tried to stop Ollie Watkins on the counter-attack, but Manchester City are certainly suffering here today. Like I say, his runs are often in the channel, so it's not him that is going to be the goal scorer, but that is their way, their route map of getting out of their own half and into the attacking half. And at the end of it, a teammate always seems to get a shot. So they're not handling or playing Watkins too well at the moment, City.
It was John Stones who dived in rather desperately as the shot came in from McGinn and got something on it. But McGinn will be disappointed. I've seen the replay. Had a lot of space there in the middle of the D and a lot of time to think about the shot. But he couldn't quite get it on target. Slight deflection. Villa corner then from their right. Going to be an in-swinger. Dini's gone across to take in. It goes towards Watkins, middle of the goal, free header, bounces back to him. Watkins shoots. He could have laid it down for Jadon Sancho to take the shot. Ball's come out of the box and now it's McGinn. This is danger for Manchester City. Ball clipped back in. Diaz wins the header and now Foden can bring it away right hand side, but that was a free header for Ollie Watkins in the middle of the penalty area.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he's just getting those two or 3 yards, and you can't give him the instinct in the box for a header, and you certainly can't give him a yard to run into the channel, because he will run. I'm already thinking Marmoush for the second half, somebody that can score a goal for City.
Here comes City. Bob has it, middle of the field. They trail by a goal to nil here at Villa Park. And the ball's worked to the left hand side to Savinho, tries to clip it into Bob in the box, but Villa have shut the door on that one. Reinders will turn it back to Ruben Diaz, who has possession for Manchester City. Burnley have got a second goal at Wolves, so Wolves 0, Burnley 2. Here's Savinho, left hand side. City trail 1-0 into the penalty area, headed away by Pau Torres. Now it's knocked forward by McGinn. There's Rodgers into Watkins, wants it back. Morgan Rodgers always on the run. Watkins held up as Villa go into him again. Back to Rodgers, now McGinn, and that's a late challenge by Bernardo. Michael Oliver says no foul, and now Villa will move it to Torres and now to Digne on the left hand side. It's been a really good 15-20 minutes from Aston Villa after City started this game by far the better side. Now it's Sancho, left hand side. Villa looking for a second goal. Jadon Sancho with Phil Foden for company. Digne steaming past him on the overlap. He finds him. City want offside, laid into the penalty area. Reinders cuts it out, and now Phil Foden can travel forward with the ball and try and get City going again, but he's just overhit that, has he? No, he hasn't. Savinho's able to keep it in on the halfway line. Bernardo up in support. Erling Haaland's up in support. That's a poor ball from Savinho. It's behind Bernardo and it'll go back to Emi Martinez in the Villa goal.
I'd definitely say Savinho's first 32 minutes in an away game, losing 1-0, already puts him at jeopardy of being replaced at half-time.
I'm sure there will be changes if the pattern of the game continues like this. Ollie Watkins has it, rolls it back to Cash, and now it's Kamara for Aston Villa as the game moves to a walking pace. We've played 33 minutes, so 12 minutes to the break. Unai Emery is out there offering advice to Jadon Sancho, who's on for Buendia if you've just joined us due to injury after Buendia helped create the only goal of this game, scored by Matty Cash, and has got Manchester City on the back foot. In the 19th minute that came. Here's Watkins again, holding up the ball well, turns it wide to Sancho. Now Watkins wants it back. That was not the best return ball from Jadon Sancho, and Ollie Watkins then dives in to try and nick possession back from Matthias, brings him down, and that's a free kick to Manchester City.
Yeah, Sancho doesn't look completely out of shape, but looks heavier than he's ever done in his career to me. But he's taking some football early, he's taking a few touches, he's into the game. I'd like to see him tackle hard, and I'd like to see City now go back to passing quicker and forward again. I desperately think they need an attacker on at half-time, which would be Marmoush.
Foden for Manchester City has a little bit of space. Now he'll go wide to Oscar Bob, halfway inside the Villa half. And now it's Matthias. So Villa lead 1-0 on Total Sport. BBC Radio Manchester. Premier League action for your Sunday afternoon. We're on FM Digital and BBC Sounds anywhere in the UK this afternoon. Matthias finds Erling Haaland. The game's almost at walking pace with Villa, with every single player behind the ball. Reinders tries to find a little pocket to run into. He does well into the box towards Bernardo. Cash comes across. Villa saying that should be a goal kick. In fact, it's the offside flag has gone up, and it will be an Aston Villa free kick in their own penalty area. Pep Guardiola paces around, hands in pockets, thinking perhaps about what changes he can make at half-time in this game, because Aston Villa definitely on top at the moment. Martinez will take this free kick. Erling Haaland is lurking. He's looking to score in a 6th successive Premier League away game for Manchester City. That's only something that Sergio Aguero has managed. Stones wins the header. Offside flag is up against Ollie Watkins. Gets sarcastic applause from the Manchester City fans on the far side, but Watkins has been a handful.
He has, yeah. Again, there's a risk these days for footballers because of the yellow cards that the ref are so keen to give out, but obviously you've got to slow these fast players down by tackling them hard. But it's as if Manchester City and other football teams, they don't want to run that risk of that yellow card anymore. They don't go physical.
Diaz for Manchester City just inside the Villa half. Will knock this into Stones. First time ball back to Matthias. Foden wants it short, makes a little run in between Sancho and Kamara, but City go back left to Diaz, and now it's Matthias. Foden again on the move, always on the move. Phil Foden turns, shimmies onto his left foot. Now Phil Foden looking for a square ball to Haaland. Instead he'll go wide right to Oscar Bob. Now a chance for him maybe to go at Digne down the right hand side for City. Now Foden tries a little ball into the box. John Stones is there, comes off a Villa shirt, and Villa only half clear it. Matthias regains possession, but that was a heavy touch. But a heavy touch too by Kamara, and City with Savinho have it on the edge of the Villa box, and it goes to Vardiol. Tries the first time pass to Bernardo. Cash is there, but Vardiol does well. Now he goes into the penalty area, goes down. City claiming for a penalty. Villa haven't cleared it, and that ball comes up against Bernardo's hand. And Michael Oliver has given, I think, a free kick for handball to Aston Villa. But there were half shouts there of a penalty. Yeah,
it never felt like it was to me, but well done to Reinders, who recognised that Aston Villa was sat in their own half, very deep, and there was no passing on, so he just took off and tried to dribble through as many gaps as possible, penetrating towards the Aston Villa goal, and it just gave City some new hope. Not much, but increasing their adventure in this game, which I have to say hasn't been much.
Morgan Rogers with a push there that knocked him off his feet, but it wasn't a penalty, having seen the replay. Foden with a slightly late challenge. Villa player's gone down. It's Amadou Onana. Michael Oliver stopped the game again, and it will be a free kick to Aston Villa, 10 yards or so inside their own half, with 7.5 minutes to go in this first half here at Villa Park. It was Reinders actually with the challenge there on Onana.
He looks like he's had enough, Mark, of losing in this game 1-0 and the way City are playing, and he's going to change his game to try and get City into it, so I admire this.
Yeah, more aggression from Tijani Reinders. Ball's rolled to Pau Torres as Villa take the free kick. Now he feeds it into Watkins. First time ball to Sancho. Plays it back to Watkins. Chance for Watkins to run at John Stones again. Villa into the City box. Ollie Watkins onto his right foot, looking to create the angle. Goes wide left to Digne. Low left-footed ball. Hits John Stones. City haven't cleared it though. Still in the penalty area with Sancho, who turns it back to Torres. Centre of the field for Aston Villa, and that was a misplaced ball from Onana that's intercepted by City, and now Haaland has it, but a good recovery from Onana, wins the ball back for Villa. Oh, and that was a terrible ball from Kamara, straight out of play for a Manchester City throw-in.
Yeah, it's Manchester City are stuck in the game, losing 1-0 at the moment, but stuck without the gaps anymore for the forward pass to run forward onto. Reinders trying to make a difference. Everybody else are just off the game at the moment, losing 1-0.
Yeah, losing 1-0. City have got work to do here. Stones into Reinders, centre of the field. That's a good ball out to Bernardo. And Tijani Reinders comes short again and feeds it out to Savinho, who now will run again at Matty Cash. McGinn comes across there. Savinho goes past him. Rogers with a challenge. And Savinho's gone in on Rogers, who's gone down holding his ankle. Michael Oliver's given the foul against the Brazilian, and I think he's going to give him a yellow card too.
I'll be amazed if he comes out for the second half. That yellow card, I was already substituting him in my mind as a supporter, and I'll be amazed on that yellow card if he stays on second half.
Just seen it. It's one of those where he does get something on the ball, but he slid in and just caught the ankle a couple of yards in front of Michael Oliver. So a yellow card for Savinho. Steve thinks he might be off at the break. We've got 5.5 minutes to half-time. Villa lead 1-0. Arsenal have taken the lead against Crystal Palace. Eberechi Eze has got the goal at the Emirates Stadium, so Arsenal in the lead. They'll be stretching their lead at the top of the Premier League over City if these results stay the same. Sancho for Villa, running at Oscar Bob and Matthias. Digne plays it left-footed into Onana. Square ball to Cash, the goal scorer. Now Kamara feeds it into Watkins. First time attempted ball to McGinn, who does get it eventually from Cash. Cross into the box, bounces off the head of Matthias and drifts out for another Aston Villa corner. Real pressure being applied by the home team.
Yeah, you have to say and give a little bit of credit to Aston Villa. They're obviously winning. They've scored from a set play already, but they don't go forward much. But when they do, there's something at the end of their work. There's a shot across, an effort at goal, and danger for City every time.
Another corner going to be taken by Matty Cash from this left. So he scored the first goal from Buendia's corner. Now he'll take this corner as Villa look for a second before half-time. In it goes into the 6-yard box. I think it was Diaz who got something on that. It'll run to the far side, and John McGinn, who keeps it in play just in front of the corner flag. Right-footed cross, outswinger from McGinn. Haaland's back there in his own box, heads it away, but Villa regain possession in their own half now through Martinez, who comes off his line. Manchester City have got Marmoush, Cherki, Doku, options in attack on the bench, and you wouldn't be surprised if Pep Guardiola does make changes at half-time.
Well, it would be Doku on for Savinho for me, and it would be Marmoush on for Oscar Bob at half-time.
The two wide players. Donnarumma's challenged by McGinn, charged down, manages to release the ball to Foden, who finds Vardiol, and City will come forward now on the break. Left-hand side to Savinho, who's just gone into the referee's notebook. Square ball to Vardiol, who's about 10 yards or so outside the Villa penalty area. Now it's John Stones, central position. Haaland and Bernardo just on the edge of the box. And it goes to Reinders. Haaland lays it off to Matthias, who'll turn the ball out to Bob on the right wing. Oscar Bob up against Digne. Little dummy from Oscar Bob. Digne gets across. Back in field he comes, the Norwegian, and finds Matthias again for Manchester City. So Villa shut down City on the right hand side, but they'll come again through Matthias, and now it's Oscar Bob. Ball stuck to his left foot as he runs towards the edge of the Aston Villa penalty area, and now he goes past Digne. That was nice. Bob, it's intercepted by McGinn, and Villa will bring the ball clear. Vardiol has it back. We've got 2.5 minutes or so until half-time. No end product from the two wide players for Manchester City in this game. Now it's Reinders. Savinho on the left-hand touchline has it level with the edge of the Aston Villa penalty area. Cash comes across, back to Stones, who's got a little bit of room on the edge of the box. Now Matthias. City knocking at the door. Well, not really knocking at the door, but certainly enjoying some possession in the Villa final third, which they haven't done for a while. Foden's ball towards Savinho at the far post. All he can do is hook it back in, and it's claimed pretty easily in the end by Emi Martinez.
Yeah, they'll be keen to go in at half-time leading Aston Villa. Now they've rolled out from the back with Martinez playing some passes, nice and short, but they're taking their time, hoping to go in at the break 1-0 up. Manchester City haven't done enough to equalise since going behind.
No, definitely not. Villa will bring the ball clear. Foden's up against Kamara, edge of the Villa box, and it's played into Onana. He'll go back to his goalkeeper Martinez. John Stones chests the ball down centre of the field. Villa can't get out at the moment. City looking to find this equaliser before half-time. Reinders receives possession and looks forward to see movement. In it goes to Stones. He's the one making the run. Now it goes in towards Haaland. That was a good interception in his own penalty area by Onana. And Villa try and spring in a counter-attack with Watkins, but Matthias goes in, he slips, loses the ball, and now Ollie Watkins will go past him as he runs down the Aston Villa left. Just in front of where we're sat, Jadon Sancho has it, edge of the box for Aston Villa. And Digne will feed it into midfield. Amadou Onana has his foot on the ball. And Villa will just calm things down, look to keep possession for the next 60 seconds. The fourth official is preparing to tell us how much added time there'll be, Robert Jones. Villa have got Tyrone Mings, Victor Lindelof and Ross Barkley warming up in front of us, although I doubt there'll be any changes at all from Unai Emery at half-time with the way this first half has gone, particularly after the first few minutes Villa in the lead through Cash's goal. Now it's Jadon Sancho who's come on for the injured Buendia. Digne with a dink ball down the line towards Rodgers. Good first touch, and Digne will go past a couple of City players. He bursts forward. He'll try the early cross. Not sure he needed to. He had a bit more time there. It runs to McGinn though on the far side for Aston Villa. John McGinn into Matty Cash, the Polish international who got the goal. And now a ball clipped out to Jadon Sancho on this left-hand touchline. Matthias and Oscar Bob in front of him. Villa 1, Manchester City 0 in the Premier League, live on BBC Radio Manchester. 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half to be added. Played forward by Cash to Kamara, and now it's with McGinn, and now Matty Cash again, and Pep Guardiola has now gone to take his seat, and pretty soon he'll be down that touchline, and he'll have to deliver a message or a spark to try and get his team back into this game. Ball played forward towards Watkins, headed down by Diaz. Boubacar Kamara for Villa. Now McGinn, who had a good chance to make it 2 from the edge of the penalty area. He tries to run past Vardiol right in front of the away fans. Vardiol's penalised by the assistant referee on that side, who got his flag straight up, and Michael Oliver has given a free kick. I'm not sure if he's going to give a card, but it's another set piece that Villa will look to make hay from before half-time. Yeah,
they've literally got one attack, one ball left in this game. There's 55 seconds left. So I don't see Manchester City defending and having a go at it themselves on the counter-attack. So it's the last play of the game now, unnecessarily giving the free kick away, Vardiol on that side. And it's going to be McGinn and Cash on the ball, so a choice of in-swing or out. And we've already seen the danger of Aston Villa from set play, so City have got to be on guard here.
Bournemouth have got a second against Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth 2, Forest 0 in the Premier League. Arsenal 1, Palace 0. Wolves have got one back against Burnley. Wolves 1, Burnley 2. Strand Larsen with a penalty at Molineux, and here Villa lead Manchester City by 1-0 with 90 seconds of the additional 3 minutes remaining. Matty Cash will take this free kick for Villa. It's going to go into the City box, and it goes from Cash. Konza didn't make contact, ball ran nearly for Sancho, and Bernardo can just hack it away and out for an Aston Villa throw-in. And the job at the moment for Manchester City is just to get to half-time at 1-0.
Yes, it is, and then hopefully some changes with the best coach in the world, hopefully living up to that title in the dressing room at half-time by the right words, the right instructions. And I don't think calm down, be patient, keep playing is the order for today. There needs to be adjustment, and like I say, I think there needs to be substitute change, 1 if not 2.
The City would be 6 points behind Arsenal if the results stay as they are, but a long way to go in both matches. Ball's played forward by Torres into midfield. He gets it back. Digne has it on the halfway line into Jadon Sancho. Plays the ball into Rodgers, who gets there ahead of Stones. Tries the reverse ball. Sancho is nearly onto it. Matthias comes across, works it back to Donnarumma, and that's a poor clearance from Donnarumma. Watkins gets his head on it, runs to McGinn. It's probably one of the rare mistakes he's made in a City shirt so far. Ball into the box by McGinn, crossed in, headed away by City. And now it's with Savinho. He'll run down the left. We've got about 20 seconds of the additional 3 minutes remaining. And it goes to Haaland, who's got his back to goal. Konza challenges him. Referee's given City the free kick. Haaland takes it quickly. Bit of pulling of the shirt from Konza and Haaland. And it goes to Foden. Haaland's got his position centrally again. And that's a foul by Torres. City not happy with that in the centre circle. Matthias is down, although Reinders has pulled him to his feet immediately. He wants to get on with the game.
Foden.
It's Foden that's down, correction. Yeah, Foden down. And there's the half-time whistle from Michael Oliver, and Phil Foden is still down on the turf at the moment. He's picked up now by Tijani Reinders. He was heavily involved in the opening 10-15 minutes when Manchester City seemed to have the ascendancy in this match, dominating possession, dominating the game. But then that goal, created again by Buendia, Villa's chief creator at the moment, scored by Cash, and since then Aston Villa have been good value for this lead. Half-time at Villa Park in the Premier League, Stacey. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0.
Steve, I mean, we have to give credit where it's due. That was some finish from Matty Cash. I mean, that trademark golf shot celebration afterwards, but first to get the whip on that shot, he's going in the opposite direction and whipped it right across the keeper. Some finish that was.
I'd say so, yeah, but I'm disappointed as a Manchester City supporter at the lack of adjustment for the corner. They're well known for set pieces here, Aston Villa. It's a big thing that they do. It was quite clear that when Manchester City set up for a ball into the box in flight, that Aston Villa were plotting something. Digne came out of the 6-yard box to come and mysteriously take the corner, to play it short with Buendia, and with Matty Cash waiting on the edge of the box. You say obviously it was a good shot, but if you're given 10 yards of space at Premier League level and international that he is to control the ball and shoot, you are likely to do some damage with it. And I don't think Manchester City adjusted to what appeared to me to be obvious danger and clearly a training ground plan coming up.
Just mentioning Phil Foden said he was still down at the end there. He has just made his way down the tunnel. Looks a little bit sore. He's got a little bit of a limp there, but he's managed to walk off the pitch. So hopefully that's a good sign. Haaland had a chance, Steve. I mean, there's only been 2 shots for City in this opening half. Their fewest in the opening half of a Premier League game since December last year, which was just the one against Liverpool. So not their usual level of creating opportunities, but one of them fell to that man Haaland. Exactly
who you'd want it to fall to, but obviously not enough ball has gone into him today. He's not been able to get into the game, and he's met his match physically. I think we've picked the wrong team. We've picked 4 great players, but all 5'8", all skillful and left-footed. Putting Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, Savinho and Oscar Bob. They're all very similar in how they play, and we just haven't been able to match the Aston Villa running power or physicality, because to get the ball to the likes of Haaland, you've got to get it off Aston Villa first, and I don't think we've picked enough players today that can score a goal, and I don't think we've picked enough players who can set the ball off the opponent.
Well, some tweets here, and one that reflects a point that you've just made, Steve, from Shiva, who says Bernardo and Foden are literally the same kind of players. I mean, both on the pitch at the same time makes us so defensively fragile.
Well, great point, but I'd still keep them on because they have credit in the bank, and we love them, and they've earned the right to play together so many times. So I wouldn't be in a rush to replace them. I would immediately replace Savinho for his performance, what he's bringing to the team, and also the fact he's on a yellow card. And whilst Oscar Bob keeps threatening with promise, I don't think he ever delivers. And with Marmoush on the bench, Doku on the bench and Kovacic on the bench, 2 from 3 somehow would come onto the pitch for me instead of Oscar Bob and Savinho and Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden. Whilst the tweet that came in is very accurate, they would stay on the pitch for me.
I just want to ask about the midfield on the back of this tweet from Mike, who says our midfield is getting overrun so badly. This is genuinely horrendous. Not going to ask your opinion whether it's horrendous or not, but is the midfield getting overrun?
No, it's not getting overrun. It's getting, well, I suppose it's getting ran through, but it's one pass that's bypassing them by Aston Villa. Like we all know how they play as supporters. We all know how they play. We kind of like have to admire it. And we're having to suck it up today, so I'm pretty sure that the analysts, the coaching staff, and certainly Pep Guardiola knows how to guard against Aston Villa's strengths, but with just knowing one thing, how they play and doing something about it. So it's one ball that's beating our midfield, and it's going on to the front line in a foot race for Ollie Watkins, who is looking not a likely goal scorer, but he's looking the biggest threat as you could actually play against today with his pace into the channel. And one ball can beat a defence, and he's showing how to do it. So that's what I'm seeing. And we're not getting enough pressure on the ball high up the field. And to go back to my first point, we loved them all at different points of their City careers, but with 4 5'8" players, left-footed and skillful, but really incapable of taking the ball off the opponent, I think we've got the wrong ingredient today.
Gary says, I'd rather have Rico Lewis as defensive midfield than Tijani. Tijani isn't a ball winner, he's more of a passer and arriving in the box kind of player than a ball winner.
Well, I'm amazed that anyone would think that when you've got Kovacic on the bench. Rico Lewis would never be in a starting team for me, and we play our best football without him. Possibly he hasn't recognised that Kovacic is up to speed now and ready to go, and if there's anyone likely to come in to bring some control to a game or get some ball stealing against the opponent, for me it would be Kovacic and certainly not Rico Lewis.
This one from Dominic says Nico G and Cherky on, Foden and Reinders off. Foden isn't creating, Reinders isn't doing anything of note. Doku for Bob 2 and switch Savio to the right. So lots to break down there, but
love it.
Pick up as you will.
Love it. We all want more from our team, but we obviously all now know that there'll be something going on in the dressing room because we've got the best manager in the world, we think. Whether that be true or bias, it's what we all go with. And someone has suggested Phil Foden off, and I think he's the only one passing into the penalty area, and eventually those passes will turn to shots. I know anybody could think that Phil Foden should come off instead of Savinho, who's played as he has done on a yellow card. I'd have to stand against that, but I obviously totally respect it.
Final one from Tammy says, Guardiola, this isn't good enough. Why is it so hard to play a player in their strongest position? Is that the main problem? And, on the back of that, what did Manchester City need to do as a priority differently in this second half?
Bring Doku on for Savinho, bring Marmouche on for Bob, and consider either of those for somehow getting Kovacic on the field. You could put all three on somehow, but the manager is paid to have the respect and the recognition of being the best coach in the world. I'd be amazed if he turns out the same starting team out for the second half, and I believe that, Mark believes that, we're here in commentary, and obviously everybody is suggesting that there will be change. All the tweets have suggested there will be change from the supporters, so we fully expect the manager to do the same, I think.
Well, we'll wait and see. Steve, thank you so much. Steve and Mark back with second half commentary from Villa Park as Villa lead Manchester City 1-0 at the halfway stage. It's Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0 as well, that one at half time. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Wolves and Burnley 2-2. Wolves were 2-0 down at half time. Everton against Spurs, that one kicks off at 4:30. England beat New Zealand by 8 wickets to take momentum into the Women's Cricket World Cup semi-finals. They face South Africa in the semi-final on Wednesday. And Lando Norris starts on pole at tonight's Mexican Grand Prix. He could move top of the championship with a win.
The Joe McGrath Breakfast Show.
Just a little announcement. The clocks go back, Paul. Ooh, are you a fan?
The clock that winds me up, pun intended, is the one in the car.
The car clock,
yeah,
for some reason, Paul, is the hardest clock on the planet.
It is, because you've got to go into the computer now, haven't you? You've got to get into the settings and start fiddling about with that. I just tend to leave it until it comes round again.
Until it's a full circle moment.
The Joe McGrath Breakfast Show.
Weekdays from 6.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Manchester.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
So it's half time at Villa Park. Villa leading Manchester City 1-0, and we've got the second half commentary on the way. But let's get some reaction to yesterday, where Manchester United made it 3 straight Premier League wins. The Reds are up to 4th after beating Brighton 4-2. It was looking comfortable, wasn't it, when they were 3-0 up, but 2 Seagulls goals made it a little hairy before Brian Mbeumo sealed it late on. It's also 4 consecutive home wins. So here's what boss Ruben Amorim had to say.
It's a very good boost, but again, in our club we have to maintain that with hard work, and then when you are confident you play better, you have better moments, you have a little bit luck when you have the right spirit, so everything is in our favour in the moment, but to maintain that we need to work really hard, but of course we want to continue to win.
We've seen Ben and Brian score, and Brian's got another 2 today, but how pleased were you for Cunha? And you could see what it meant to him. It was the team he grew up watching, and you can see what the move meant to him to get that first goal.
No, he was struggling. He can hide that, but I understand he's struggling, but the confidence that he puts in every moment of the game, again, I really love the way he defends. I know that I'm a little bit basic on that, but it's not a surprise for me the way he responded in Anfield. That is not a surprise. It's not a surprise the way he played today with the ball, but without the ball he's improving, and that is going to be massive for our team.
But he wants to score goals, and he's got one.
He needs to score goals. He suffered when he doesn't score, and then they are top players because they decide games, and I'm really pleased with him.
Ruben Amorim there after United's win over Brighton. As you heard there, Matheus Cunha opened his goal-scoring account, and the Brazilian says it was an unbelievable feeling to score at Old Trafford.
It's hard to say something now. I work so hard for this, but of course, this is the club, then I think this kind of moments need to be common, need to be normal, and I feel so good to be part of this with one goal, my first one here in Old Trafford. I dream a lot to this, and that's coming. But of course, I think the contribution is much more important with the win.
Yeah, but on a personal level, we know your affection for the club. At Old Trafford to score, what was that feeling and adrenaline like?
Oh, it's like I say, it's so hard to say something. I joke with Brian, we say school, we joke like, guys, I need to have this feeling, guys. You have it, and I feel like so anxious to be part of this. And then when I score, the guys come to me and say, you can score, look, you can enjoy it now. And of course, I think all the support for my teammates, for the club, for the staff, is something then I feel like so good to be part of this.
And the fans, you look like you got an instant connection with them.
Wow, I think I'm one of them. This is the club then I grown up to watch, and to be here is mix of sensations, to be fan inside of the pitch now, to help them. I think is my dream come true.
Yeah, what a brilliant moment for Cunha to get his first goal for Manchester United, and there's more reaction on the United page on BBC Sounds, where you'll also find a new Devil's Advocate podcast dropping tomorrow afternoon, so make sure you click subscribe. Now in League One, Mario Cozier-Dewberry curled in a 94th minute winner as Bolton took a late 3 points over Cardiff. Wanderers fans, sure you've heard the commentary on our X page at BBC RM Sport, not to be missed. Well, here's boss Stephen Schumacher on his magical winger.
Real talented player, and we've said we've loved having him here, and he's doing great. And I actually thought today he looked really tired in the last 10-15 minutes, because again, that's to be expected. He plays pretty much every minute of every league game, and that's difficult for someone so young, and he looked a little bit tired in the last 15 minutes today because of the energy. But you just can't take him off, because he's got that match winning capability, can produce a moment of magic from nowhere to win you a game. So them players you've got to stick with.
It's not boring, is it?
No, it's never boring watching our teams. No, it's and again that's what we want though. We pride ourselves on being a team who can play with energy because of the way we train, how intense we ask the lads to do things, and therefore you should have enough in your tank to go the distance. And when I've got quality players as well who can come off the bench to give you that added energy, it helps. So yeah, the emotions at the end of the game were brilliant, and as I said, I would have been pleased enough with the performance if we'd have got a result against Cardiff, but to beat them on our home turf and to keep that momentum going here at home is brilliant. 5 wins and 2 draws from at home is a good return, and we want that to continue.
Well, Wigan survived late Mansfield pressure to come away with a point in a 1-1 draw. Ollie Cooper scoring his first Ticks goal. Here's boss Ryan Lowe.
It's one of the best feelings you'll get. You just know when he cuts in. He obviously had one that almost hit Rosette, but to then do that in the last kick of the game is special.
What's it like playing in a team with a wizard on the wing?
Yeah, it's good, because we can obviously do all the play we want building up, and then when you get to our front line, we've got dynamic players who like to take on players and create stuff. So as a midfielder, our job is to get the ball to them and let them do what they do. And obviously again today he does what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 really difficult games as well, but they're both statement wins, aren't they, surely, even at this early stage of the season, Josh?
Yeah, exactly. They're both teams who are obviously at the start of the season to be favourites to go up, and for us in the past it's probably been our downfall is playing the bigger teams, and so-called teams are going to be favourite, and for us now this season to start against the 2 of the favourites to go and win the games, not just draw or get a result, to go and win, it means a lot. And I think from here we just have to, we know we can do it, it's just doing it every game regardless who we play.
Bolton's Josh Sheehan there talking to Jack Dearden. In League 2, Oldham needed a late Joe Garner goal to rescue a point in their 2-2 draw with Stevenage. Teammate Tom Pett also opened his Latics account. There's been a lot of talk this week around where Pett is operating. Boss Mickey Mellon has described him as an old-fashioned inside forward. So how does Pett see it?
Yeah, I think the gaffer's he's given me a licence to maybe not be so central, maybe a little bit wider. Not obviously touchline wide, it's never going to be me, but to maybe find space and to affect the game a little bit higher up, which I felt like I have. I think we've, like I've touched on before, we've maybe not been that clinical. I feel like I've had a hand in a lot of chances that we've created, and I think I've enjoyed it. It's a little bit different, but I think as the game moves, you've got to move with the ball, and I like it. You find yourself a little bit higher and you can affect the game. So it's not that much different. I'm not maybe receiving it off a centre half and dictating the game as much, but when you've got Woodsy behind you doing that, I think he ain't bad at doing that. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it.
Do you enjoy getting into those areas that we saw today?
Yeah, and I think from a few years ago, that was where I was playing a little bit higher up in 10, and then I gradually played a little bit deeper, and now I'm playing a little bit higher. I think the gaffer likes how I can get up and down the pitch fitness wise, and he said to me, when I'm an intelligent footballer, I know when to go inside, I know when to go higher, And yeah, I feel like in the last few weeks I've had chances and it has fell to me, and maybe it's got blocked or I've not struck it like I wanted to. There was one last week against Salford, which I would have been pretty happy with that one in. So yeah, I want to get in them areas. I want to score goals. I think from especially our team, we've got midfielders that can score goals, and I want to contribute to that. And hopefully today's just a start.
Where you can get all the reaction on your club page on BBC Sounds right now. And a reminder, you can have your say with Gaz and Emily tomorrow night from 6 on Total Sport. Second half now from Villa Park. It's Aston Villa and Manchester City in the company of Steve Eyre and Mark Crossley.
Yeah, thank you, Stacey. Work to do for Manchester City, who trail here by a 1-0 as Michael Oliver blows his whistle and the match restarts. And the first thing to tell you at the start of this second half is that there are no changes to that Manchester City side. Steve, what's your reaction to that? You were talking about potential changes at half-time, the two wide players, but they're both back out there.
Yeah, we trust the manager, but at the same time, I think every football dressing room that is losing at half-time considers the change, but when they don't, I think they probably think we'll give these lads the first 15 minutes of the second half hoping for a response. The disappointing thing was the wide players for me, and I'm concerned for Phil Foden, who took that knock on 45 minutes, 15 minutes inside, possibly getting some treatment, but largely will have been sat down. Just looks a little bit stiff running around second half, early minute.
Yeah, he does. Early free kick given there for a foul in Aston Villa's favour. John McGinn tries a first time ball towards Ollie Watkins, who gives him the thumbs up despite the fact he didn't make the run. We saw Pep Guardiola and Michael Oliver sharing a smile and a hug as they, or an arm around the shoulder at least, as they came out of the tunnel at the start of this second half. I'll run you through the two sides in a second. Here's John Stones on the halfway line though. Chance for City to make an early break in the second half. He hasn't really got many options. Back comes Watkins, who gets the challenge in. Ball runs to City. Watkins is down. Savinho has it in the penalty area. Square ball from Savinho. Oh, it just came on to Bernardo too quick really, and he couldn't quite get the connection. Watkins is still down in the middle of the Aston Villa half. The game still goes on. The Villa fans want City to put the ball out. They are under no obligation to do so, and they're going to continue with the game. Watkins is back on his feet now, and City have it with Reinders, middle of the field. It will go wide to Foden. Oscar Bob wants it to his right. Square pass instead to Tijani Reinders towards the edge of the Villa penalty area. City shooting right to left in the second half. Bob tries to go round Lucas Digne, who makes the challenge, and City have got a throw that Bob will take. The Manchester City side then, Donnarumma in goal, back four of Matthias, Stones, Diaz and Vardy, although Stones again stepping into midfield. He plays it through to Phil Foden into the Villa penalty area. Foden onto his left foot, shot is charged down by Konza, and that's an early corner at the start of the second half for Manchester City.
It is, yeah, exactly what you want. Not an immediate response, but a couple of attacks and into the Aston Villa penalty area. Now we've got a set play opportunity for ourselves with Phil Foden. Corner.
Yeah, Foden will take the corner, left-footed, going to be an in-swinger from the City right. Haaland's in there, Vardiol too, and Stones in. It goes towards Vardiol. Oh, the header was from Amadou Onana, who's gone down holding his head. Ball's gone out for another Manchester City corner. I wonder if he was just caught there. Maybe it was a head-to-head collision. Ollie Watkins is saying it should be a foul. I'm surprised, actually, he's not been forced to go to the sideline if it is a head injury, but he seems to be okay. And Foden will line up to take another corner for City, opening 3 minutes at the start of the second half. They trail 1-0. Foden into the penalty area, and there's a push in there on Matty Cash, the goal scorer. He's down, and the free kick goes in Aston Villa's favour. So to complete that City team then, Donnarumma in goal, Matthias, Stones, Diaz and Vardiol across the back, Bernardo and Reinders in midfield, Phil Foden ahead of them. It's Savinho on the left, Bob on the right, and Erling Haaland up front. Centrally, he's had one big chance in this game, saved by Martinez in the first half. Martinez in goal for Villa, Cash, Konza, Pau Torres and Digne. Then it's Onana and Kamara, McGinn, Sancho for Buendia, the one change. Buendia helped create the goal but has gone off injured, and Morgan Rogers behind Ollie Watkins up front. Cash plays it into Morgan Rogers. Now a chance for him to try and thread it through to Watkins. He nearly got the pass in. Villa attacking the whole end in the second half. There's a clip ball from Rogers out towards Sancho on the left. City intercept and can come forward now through Reinders. Reinders driving at that Villa back line. We saw this at Arsenal. He's got Haaland with him again. Reinders will shoot himself this time. It's a right-footed effort, but it's pretty tame, and it goes wide of Emi Martinez right-hand post.
Outstanding, outrageous bit of skill from Phil Foden. A couple of back heels in the same move with his magical feet to get us out of our half. Reinders, again, I'm really impressed by the fact he wants to take the game off plan and turn it into a running game with the ball, and he managed to make 70 yards, and I'm thinking great, but the shot at the end of it was really, really poor. So a mixed feeling about Reinders' contribution there, but it is more purpose from Manchester City.
Martinez takes the goal kick long for Aston Villa towards McGinn, who's wrestling with Vardiol. Both players end up on the deck. Villa want a free kick. Michael Oliver is not having any of it. It's a clipped left-footed pass from Bernardo out to Savinho on the left-hand side for City. Bernardo made the overlapping run just in front of where 4 Manchester City substitutes are warming up. All players will want to get on the pitch in this second half, particularly Doku, Marmoush. Attacking options City have got there, both bouncing on the spot at the moment. Ball's in the middle of the field with Ruben Diaz for Manchester City, who are in this grey and lime green kit, chipped in by Matthias towards Haaland. That was a poor ball, and Martinez can comfortably come off his line and gather for Aston Villa.
Yes, all Manchester City, nothing at the end of the work yet, but obviously with only 4.5 minutes gone of the half, there is time yet, and it's better from Manchester City, but Aston Villa have just policed that quite comfortably.
They have. They're in their traditional claret and blue this afternoon, and looking for a third successive win over City here at Villa Park, and it's been a real mixed bag of a season for Aston Villa in the Premier League so far. No top flight team since the 1930s have gone 5 without a win to start the season and then won their next 4. Well, that's what Villa are on course to do at the moment, leading by Matty Cash's left-footed strike in the 19th minute.
It looks to me a slight tactical change. I'll watch as the ball moves, of course. City have moved 1 player back, which is John Stones, not running into midfield as much, and propelled 2 players forward, which is the wide players, which is what we want. Bob and Savinho to almost be a front 3 helping, front 2 alongside Haaland.
Onana gets Villa going again. Sancho on the left-hand side, got an overlap from Digne if he wants him, but instead he goes infield towards the City box. Good policing by Foden that time. Cross from Digne, comes off Matthias and out for a Villa corner in front of the Hull end.
Yeah, they're very good at it. They've just got a corner from it, but they are dangerous at that. But they can soak up pressure and then they can fly on the break, and they've just got a cross and now a corner from just being exactly that team.
And it's from this position, a corner on the Villa left, that the opening goal came, with the ball rolled to the edge of the penalty area and Cash converted. Matty Cash will take this corner from the left himself. Right-footed in swinger from Cash. There's McGinn, left-footed on the volley. It's blocked by a City player. I think it was Diaz. And City somehow managed to avoid conceding a second. It was important interception, important block from Ruben Diaz that prevented John McGinn's shot, which was goal-bound, making it 2-0 to Aston Villa. Diaz brings it clear for City, who have it with Vardiol. 1-0 down here at Villa Park in the Premier League on BBC Radio Manchester. Haaland's just turned, not happy with something. He got a pull, did he, on his shirt? Or he's holding his ribs at the moment. As Matthias brings it away and uses Oscar Bob on the right-hand side for Manchester City. Back infield to Matthias, and now it goes infield to Reinders. And Vardiol will play it right-footed into Reinders, who plays a left-footed pass, maybe a little ambitious, tried to find Bernardo between the lines. Villa bring it clear through Boubacar Kamara, who tries to release Watkins on the right. Reinders isn't happy with the decision to give a free kick, and he's going to get a yellow card for his troubles too from Michael Oliver.
I bet Reinders wouldn't have believed anybody if they'd have said to him, in 20 seconds you're going to run forward and pass straight to the opposition centre half, and then on the return running up the pitch you're going to get a yellow card, when he had all that attacking time and space in the last third 20 seconds ago. And that's exactly what's just happened.
Ollie Watkins is the chant from the Hull end. Watkins is in there now, the England striker, looking to pounce as Villa look for a second goal. John McGinn takes a short free kick back to Cash, and now it's the challenge, good challenge actually, from Savinho in his own left back position, and Oscar Bob and Savinho are now both down the same side of the pitch as Matthias tries to move Manchester City to the right. Bernardo's gone across there and receives possession. Bernardo Silva, who scored at Villarreal in midweek, but is refusing to give too much away about his plans at the end of the season. Vardiol for City, Reinders on the halfway line, and now Matthias has it and will use Oscar Bob, who's moved from left to right and receives possession. Foden and Haaland ahead of him. but instead City will go backwards. A reminder that elsewhere in the Premier League this afternoon we've got 3 other games at the moment. Arsenal lead Palace 1-0. Eberiche Eze against his former club. It's Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0, the first Premier League game in charge of Forest for Sean Dyche. But they trail 2-0 at the Vitality, and it's Wolves 2, Burnley 2 at Molineux, with Everton against Spurs at the Hill Dickinson to come at 4:30. City looking to find this equaliser as Villa Park gets behind Aston Villa, who lead 1-0. Foden has it in the centre circle for Manchester City, and he goes past one player, moves the ball right to Matthias, and it goes again to Diaz. Villa are back in their shape, as you might expect. Vardiol with a little burst of pace into the middle of the Villa half, looking for an option to his right. Matthias is there. Now it'll be rolled to Oscar Bob. Takes it first time on his left foot, up against Digne, level with the edge of the Villa penalty area on the City right. Now it's Matthias. City content to just keep possession for the moment and try and move Villa from side to side, but not really getting very far because they're almost back on the halfway line at the moment for Ruben Diaz.
I think I've just seen Kolo Touré try and get Nico Gonzalez to have a stronger warm-up.
Here's Foden. Haaland, edge of the area, and Villa get a boot in. Rodgers should complete the clearance, but Diaz steps across, and here's Reinders. We'll keep an eye on that. They are calling Nico over to the Manchester City bench. I think it's going to be Nico O'Reilly. Actually, it's the other Nico. So Nico O'Reilly. Oh no, it isn't the other Nico. Which Nico, Colo?
Both, by the way.
Both of them. Both of them now running to the City dugout. You're not missing anything here as Matthias has it on the far side. So double change, I think, incoming for Manchester City as we approach the hour mark at Villa Park. Live on Total Sport. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0 in the Premier League. It's a murky, overcast day. The floodlights are on in full force. On the day the clocks have gone back, City have it with Foden and now John Stones. Erling Haaland is just looking for a little glimmer on the edge of the penalty area. Torres stands with him at the moment. Vardiol has it now in the left channel for City. He'll look for Haaland. That's a left-footed cross that is extremely wild and goes out for a Villa goal kick.
Yeah, he's probably thinking he should have quit football and played basketball when he put that cross over the bar, like he's been telling us all week. But we expect better from him with his talent, and we're interested now and eager to see the substitute changes, because they are obviously talented footballers who can play forward, O'Reilly and Gonzalez, but they are defensive minded. So let's have a look.
Yeah, City just waiting to make these changes as Nico bounces on the spot. Nico O'Reilly's just adjusting his shin pads at the moment as the game goes on with Digne on the left hand side into Jadon Sancho, 19 on his back, off the bench for Aston Villa on loan from Manchester United, but Sancho loses out to Oscar Bob, who does well. Oscar Bob on the halfway line for Manchester City, tries to run past a second Aston Villa player, goes down, wants the free kick. Michael Oliver doesn't give the decision in favour of City, but Villa have given it straight back to Vardiol, who's now running Savinho in the penalty area. Square ball from Savinho is cut out on the slide by Ezri Konsa, and City get themselves a corner.
I don't know what you think, Mark, but I'm really enjoying, even though Vardiol put the ball over the crossbar in his first cross, he's had 3 raids now from left centre-back into left midfield and ended up on the edge of the Aston Villa box, something he didn't do in the first half. So this is increasing the attacks from Manchester City.
Yeah, and you would think he would be a candidate to come off with Nico O'Reilly coming on, but we shall see what role O'Reilly's going to go into. Foden will take the corner for City, attacking the north stand to our left, trailing 1-0 as we approach the hour mark at Villa Park. Phil Foden with the outswinging corner is headed up in the air by a Villa player. We'll come back to Foden, who knocks it to Savinho. Every single player bar Donnarumma in the Aston Villa half at the moment, as City still wait to make these 2 substitutions.
Mark, it's going to be 3. Doku as well.
Oh yeah, Jeremy Doku's going to be coming on as well, so a triple sub from Pep Guardiola incoming. Savinho could be one of the players to make way. You think he would be for Doku. What can he do here? To the byline, left-footed cross from the Brazilian, charged down by Matty Cash and out for a City corner. I wonder if they'll make the changes here. Or
I'd be tempted to. I know there's a plan, but you've got 6'3" of Gonzalez and 6'2" of Nico O'Reilly, who's good at heading the ball in the penalty area. I'd get them on for the corner.
Doesn't look like they're going to at the moment. Guardiola is deep in conversation with Doku, who's just getting himself ready as Nico bounces on the spot. Here comes the next Phil Foden corner for City. Another outswinger, free header for Diaz, charged down by someone in claret and blue. more by luck than judgment. Clipped back into the box by Bernardo to the far post. Cash's header straight into the danger zone. Savinho hits the Villa shirt. Savinho shoots again, and that is turned over his own bar by Pau Torres, almost on his own goal line. Instinctive bit of play, just stuck his right boot out and somehow diverted it above his own crossbar.
I feel like I need to get this in quick. Savinho's been brilliant in the last 2 minutes. He's forced 2 corners and got 2 volleys. At the moment, it looks like he could be substituted. Honestly, we've been waiting and waiting. He's been poor, he's been yellow carded, and he's been brilliant in the last 2 minutes. This will be interesting.
Well, Manchester City want a penalty for handball. Michael Oliver has made the gesture that VAR are checking it. John Brooks is the VAR official today, as we see a replay of the second shot from Savinho that was charged down. Nothing given, so handball's not been given. It was against Kamara, who slid, but the decision goes in Villa's favour. But City inches away from an equaliser. Here's another Phil Foden corner, another outswinger. There's the header from Vardiol. He got up well and got the header in, beat his man, but he couldn't get the direction on it, and it goes over the top.
Here we go. Going to have some fun now. Watch this unfold with a triple sub, which you don't see often. Don't see often from Manchester City chasing a game.
Well, John Stones is the first player to be going off.
Not surprised. He's cluttered midfield up. A lot's made of when he comes from the back into midfield. I'm not so sure, even though amazing in the Champions League final all over the pitch. But in the last 12 months, when he steps into midfield, I think it looks awkward.
Well, O'Reilly's on for Stones, Nico's on for Bernardo, and Doku is on for Bob. So it's Savinho who'll continue. Well, and he's going to go to the right, I think, with Doku to the left.
Yeah, I'm encouraged by that. The fact that, you know, if it is the last 2 minutes alone, he's been excellent. Let's hope he can turn that into half an hour.
Yeah, half an hour to play. Villa lead 1-0, live on Total Sport, on BBC Radio Manchester. As City search for that equaliser, but Villa managed to get themselves up the pitch for the first time in the last few minutes with Digne to Sancho. And now it's worked backwards to Onana. Square ball to Kamara, who clips it out to Matty Cash. He'll now try and play it down the line for Rodgers, who goes past O'Reilly towards the byline. Morgan Rodgers pulls it back towards Watkins at the near post. Diaz went in there with him. He's down on the deck. Villa have got themselves a corner.
Well, we're going to see an outstanding game of football, I believe, in the next 30 minutes, Mark, because we are going to play into Aston Villa's hands, because we're going to throw bodies forward now, and we're going to be a better team on the attack ourselves as Manchester City. And then obviously that throws it open for Aston Villa, who are excellent physically and with pace on the counter-attack. I think we're going to see a really exciting last 30 minutes.
Ruben Diaz is back on his feet. He actually just fell awkwardly there as he diverted that out for a corner. Did well to get there ahead of Watkins, but just landed really badly on his back. But he's okay to continue, and Aston Villa can launch this ball into the City penalty area. Every single City player back inside their own box, as Digne will wind up that left foot of his from the right hand side, Holt end of the ground, as Villa look for a second here against City. Digne with his right arm in the air, in it comes, left footed from Digne into the 6-yard box. Erling Haaland heads it away, drops to Kamara, edge of the penalty area, and now McGinn will pick up possession on the left hand side for Villa, who will be forced backwards by Manchester City, who've made this triple substitution. Cash will go long towards Digne. He'll do well to keep that in play. He does. Brilliant first touch, actually, but in actually collecting the ball on his instep, he knocks it away from himself to Matthias. And now Jeremy Doku, with his hair in a ponytail, on the left-hand side, the Belgian for Manchester City. 11 on his back. He's one of the 3 changes that Guardiola has made. Nico O'Reilly and Nico Gonzalez both on. They exchange passes, and now it's worked out to Doku, who's running at Cash towards the Villa penalty area. Doku tries to get it on his left foot, plays it into O'Reilly. O'Reilly hesitates, really, almost caught in 2 minds about what to do. Villa nip it off him, and they'll run straight downfield with John McGinn. Nico Gonzalez puts his arm across him, brings him down, and almost 1 or 2 minutes after being introduced, he's going to go into Michael Oliver's notebook.
Oh, it's really annoying in any football match when you see a running back into his own half, losing the foot race, and then making a challenge. Oh, you just know it's going to be a free kick, and then it's just as annoying to see the referee go in his pocket for the yellow card. He's only been on the pitch 3 minutes. He now can't really go and hit anybody hard in a tackle, probably.
Pep Guardiola just gesturing to Nico O'Reilly to release the ball a bit quicker there. Just hesitated, and Villa on the counter-attack put City under pressure. Digne has it for Villa now. Sancho tries to exchange passes, tries the 1-2, intercepted by Savinho, who's moved from the left-hand side to the right-hand side for City. Vardiol has dropped into the back line. Oh, he was already in the back line, but he's moved across. Here's Reinders. And now Savinho on the right-hand side. It will go at Digne. Ball rebounds off Digne. And out for a Manchester City throw-in. Level with the edge of the penalty area. We've got 25 minutes to go at Villa Park. Don't forget, more live football for you tomorrow night on BBC Radio Manchester from League One. Port Vale against Stockport is your commentary game. Build up with Gaz and Emily from 6 o'clock. And the whole game live tomorrow night. It's been a busy weekend of live football, and more to come next weekend. FA Cup first round next Saturday. Ball played down the line by Doku to O'Reilly. Villa want offside. O'Reilly into the penalty area, involved in a challenge against Kamara, who does well in the end. Konza comes across, and now it'll be rolled back to Cash. And now Konza clips it down the line to John McGinn with that low centre of gravity, and he just turns the ball against Doku and out for an Aston Villa throw in halfway inside their own half.
Yeah, you can understand it. He's still a young player. He's definitely growing into his body now, O'Reilly, but he's not at the speed of the game yet against one of the most fastest and most physical teams in the Premier League. He just needs to up it a yard or so in the brain, in the mind, and round his feet. And I'm comfortable saying this because you can tell that Pep Guardiola's saying the same. Yeah, Pep Guardiola is out there, edge of his technical area at the moment. Hands in pockets and his black waterproof coat. As Pau Torres goes left-footed long diagonally towards Watkins. It was a good idea. The execution wasn't quite right. Just behind Ollie Watkins, and out for a City throw-in level with their own box. My question to you, Mark, would be at this stage, now that we're chasing the game, we haven't scored, we haven't really looked like scoring, and we've made some bright changes, and we've definitely improved physically, but I just wonder at this level, in this contest, how many Manchester City players are capable of really scoring a goal. And with Marmoush still warming up and Cherky still warming up, we have improved, but there's not enough goal scorers on the pitch for me. Yeah, Erling Haaland has scored 11 of City's 17 Premier League goals this season, so only 6 contributed by the rest of the side. In fact, only Spurs have prevented Haaland from scoring so far this season. Villa on course to join that list as Foden plays it to O'Reilly, and now Jeremy Doku into the Villa box. There's the ball low across the 6-yard box towards the man I was just talking about, Haaland, but it's turned away from him, and McGinn will try and keep it in on the near touch line. McGinn does keep it in on the near touch line, but in the end it's Vardiol who steps across and rolls the ball back to Donnarumma, and Erling Haaland is just walking back into position when he really had one opportunity in this match, but Villa know, give him a sniff and he'll punish them. Diaz to Nico, who's okay to come on here despite that foot injury picked up in Spain in the Champions League on Tuesday. As Reinders tries to find Foden, who is outnumbered in the middle of the field, but Matthias actually does well to retrieve possession for City. The Villa fans frustrated. Vardiol will play it out to Doku. He'll go again at Cash on City's left towards the byline. Doku's cross actually takes a deflection off Cash. Martinez tried to prevent it going for a corner at his near post. He couldn't, and it will be another City corner from their left. Noticeable, Aston Villa have scored from a short corner, but we don't seem to play any short move training ground short corners anymore since Kevin De Bruyne has left. We have got first contact on the ball with headers with the last two, with Vardiol and Diaz, but we don't seem to work anything from the training ground other than a floated ball in the box these days. And I think we've got a new set play coach. And that was where the Villa goal came from. Foden's corner this time in towards Vardiol, comes off the Croatian, but Morgan Rogers can clip it clear for Villa, and he's on his bike. Sancho will do well to feed it back to him. He does. Here's Rogers on the counter-attack for Aston Villa. We've got not many players in support, but Rogers will turn it back to Watkins, who's now joined the party. Edge of the area. Kamara sprays it out to Cash, right-hand side. A few yards outside the City box, and it'll go back infield to Boubacar Kamara and now Onana. Both of them in the middle of the park. Had good games for Villa. Here's Torres. Turns it wide to Digne on the left-hand side, and now Jadon Sancho has it for Aston Villa, who works that back infield, and City will get back behind the ball. We've got just over 20 minutes to go here at Villa Park in the Premier League on BBC Radio Manchester's Total Sport. Commentary available on BBC Sounds anywhere in the UK today. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. Matty Cash with a goal. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Arsenal 1, Palace 0. They're going 6 points clear at the top, or 6 points clear of City at the top at the moment. Bournemouth 2, Forest 0, as Sancho has it for Villa towards the byline into the box. This is dangerous. Sancho, Donnarumma makes the save, makes the second save from Jadon Sancho.
He didn't really get much on the strike, but Donnarumma forced into action, and Villa have won themselves a throw-in after all that on the far side.
Yeah, that was a mess from Núñez trying to defend a diagonal ball against Sancho in the first place. He looked exactly what he was there, a midfield sub playing right back.
Sancho will be disappointed with the second attempt, because if he'd have got any elevation on that, I'm pretty sure that would have been 2-0. It wasn't a cute angle, but Donnarumma was down on the ground, made the save, and City survive to complete those scores. Wolves 2, Burnley 2 is the other Premier League game ongoing at the moment, with Everton Spurs to come in an hour's time. And at the end of this, in 20 minutes or so, you can speak to Steve Eyre, former City youth coach, and let him know what you've made of this performance. 0800 218 2255. Steve will be taking your calls until 5 o'clock alongside Stacey Copeland. Out for a City throw after a Villa error on this near side. There's going to be another change, but this time from the home side, as they prepare to bring their first substitute on. It's going to be Evan Gessan, who scored in the Europa League on Thursday. Will be the first change for Unai Emery's men. City have already made a triple substitution in this second half. One of the players they've brought on, Jeremy Doku, has the ball now, 11 on his back, up against Cash, who tries to show him onto his left, and he does well, Matty Cash, but Doku comes back at him. He's still got the ball in play. It's on the byline. I think it's still in. It is. Work back to Vardy, edge of the penalty area. Now it's Foden with his back to goal. Nico has it for City, moves it back to the left to Doku. He'll run again at Cash, edge of the box, knocks it into Foden in the penalty area. Can City work something here? Foden will clip it towards Haaland, left-footed. There's the free header. He studied it well, Phil Foden. Erling Haaland powered the header towards goal, but couldn't get that much power on it in the end, and it's saved by Martinez.
Yeah, we've seen that goal a couple of times recently from Erling Haaland, a stood-up ball, nothing to run onto for Haaland, just a standing jump and the neck muscles required. He got it on the target, but couldn't get it past the Aston Villa goalkeeper.
I think Ross Barkley's coming on for Villa as well. City have won the ball back. Here's Doku towards the edge of the box again. Growing in confidence here. Ball chipped in towards the run of Reinders from Nico, headed out to Watkins, but he slips. And now it's City who've got the ascendancy with 19 minutes to go as Villa prepare to make this double substitution. I don't know if this is a move to protect the one goal lead they've got, or to try and shore things up, or maybe to go and get a second. Here's Doku up against McGinn. Maybe just fresh legs out there. Square ball from Nico to Matthias. Savinho's not really seen too much of the ball since he's moved from left to right.
Mark, I do believe this now. If Aston Villa are going to drop this deep and defend their own penalty area, and City are going to rely on really small gaps to play, skillful passes into, I'd have to think about how to get Cherki on the field.
Yeah, that's a club that Guardiola's got in his bag. Here's Nico. Shots charged down edge of the City area. Rodgers tries to bring it clear, but he loses possession a little bit too easily there. Unai Emery's out on the edge of his technical area, not happy, as Foden clips it to Doku on the left-hand side. Up against Cash again. Little battle in the last few minutes towards the byline. The cross from Doku, charged down by Cash. And this time Martinez can keep it in. And Manchester City are prevented. And Villa shortly will make these two changes. They've already made one with Sancho, one for Buendia. And very shortly Gessan will be entering the field. Possession stats, by the way, now pretty much 50-50 in this game. City had 80% early on in the first half. That's a measure of how Villa have come back into it. What do you think Pep will have made of this second half, Steve Eyre?
Better, but we haven't looked like scoring, have we, from open play at all. But just as I called it, I'll let you do this Manchester City next substitute. I'm really pleased to see this, as I promoted it, because I thought it's exactly what the game needs. Cherki coming on.
Ryan Cherki will be coming on shortly. Villa's changes then. So Evan Gessan will come on, and Jadon Sancho. Is Jadon Sancho one of the players coming off? The substitute is going to be substituted here. John McGinn's the other. So it's Gessan and Barkley on, McGinn and Sancho off. Well, there you go. Talk to me about that from a manager's perspective.
Well, obviously wanting a more defensive, fitter player on. He's clearly out of shape. Another one he can put on his Instagram story that he's been subbed.
Well, Sancho's not looking at his manager as he walks past him on the touchline. Unai Emery made a beeline for him to give him a pat on the back, but Sancho didn't look too pleased. I'm not a body language expert, but that was pretty obvious. Double change for Villa.
He's already at the airport.
Right, Cherki's going to be coming on for City. Interesting to see who they bring off here. Possibly Savinho, we'll see. Barkley's straight into the action, heads it into the path of Watkins, who wrestles with Matthias. and Nico. Ball's come off a City player. It's out for a Villa throw-in on the far side. Kolo Touré is out there with Pep Guardiola in the technical area as City will now make this fourth substitution of this second half. They still trail to Matty Cash's 19th minute goal here at Villa Park, and they're set as things stand to fall 6 points behind Arsenal and head to a third successive defeat at this stadium in the league. Barkley, nice touch to Watkins, just on. Ross Barkley, full of energy. There's a good ball through the back line. Here's Watkins, clean through. Out comes Donnarumma, gets something on it, and now gratefully picks up the ball. But for a split second, Ollie Watkins looked like he was about to put this game potentially beyond Manchester City, but Donnarumma did well.
Yeah, great. 1-2 in the middle of the centre circle from Ross Barkley. Then the pass through to Watkins would be exactly what he dreams of. The running ball through to the goal, but thankfully our goalkeeper Donnarumma out in no time, showing what a great goalkeeper he is. City back on the attack.
Yeah, made himself really big there. Watkins just didn't really get a boot on it. Could have taken it first time, just didn't really get the touch. Here comes City, edge of the penalty area, ball played into Reinders, who's offside, and now the assistant referee has been spotted by Michael Oliver, although a Villa player's been clattered there by Nico, who's already had a yellow card, but I don't think the referee's too concerned. Digne is the man who's down. He just bangs against the grass of his right arm, clearly been caught there. It was Nico, I think he actually got the ball, but anyway, City will make this change now, and it's Tijani Reinders who goes off, and Rain Cherki comes on, Steve.
Loads of attackers, loads of skillful players, twice as many really it feels as what we started with. Cherki, obviously we've got Haaland, Savinho, Doku, Foden, O'Reilly when he steps into midfield. There's a lot of front foot opportunity here, but still the risk of Aston Villa on the counter attack.
Yeah, it looks like Haaland with Foden and Cherki behind him, Savinho on the right, Doku on the left as Pau Torres clears it long downfield. Villa go route one towards Ollie Watkins against Ruben Diaz by the touchline. Watkins has his back to goal, wrestling with Diaz. Watkins does really well there, actually takes it around two players, and you can hear what Villa Park makes of that from Ollie Watkins. City applying pressure again. Nico again involved in the thick of it. He's got to calm down a little. Ball's clipped forward by Torres towards the substitute Wessam, but City will bring it clear with Doku, and then Unai Emery just gesturing to a couple of his players to get back into position as Vardiol brings it over the halfway line. First time pass into O'Reilly, finds Doku. Now O'Reilly will go on the overlap. Doku goes in field, now square to Cherki, plays it backwards actually when he had a little bit of room there. Comes into Vardiol, he tries to feed it into Foden, and Villa will clear it long.
I've got to say, in the not many times I've seen Cherki play, but that's what he does often, pass backwards.
Well, he did there when he didn't need to. Villa have got possession back. That's the voice of the former Manchester City youth coach Steve Eyre with us on Total Sport on BBC Radio Manchester. 13 minutes to go here at Villa Park, and Aston Villa lead by 1-0, and the man who scored that goal, Matty Cash, will take this throw in just inside the Manchester City half. Ball's worked back to Konza, who can get Villa moving again into midfield. In it goes to Rodgers, tries the first time ball into the path of Ross Barkley, but City are back there, and Donnarumma's out of his goal to intercept. And it's a big 15 minutes or so here for Manchester City. Diaz will play it out to Vardiol, and now Joško Vardiol feeds it into Nico. The City fans trying to get behind their team as they search for this equaliser. Doku has it into Nico Gonzalez on the halfway line, and now Matthias, who left it late for his goal against Villa at the Etihad last season, which was a big goal towards the end of the season. Can he get himself into the box maybe as City try and apply pressure now with Doku up against Cash. Jeremy Doku feeds it in towards O'Reilly, and there's an Aston Villa player in there, Amadou Onana, who gets a boot on it and diverts it out for a City throw-in.
Yes, I'm really hopeful that it's going to be 15 minutes of attack v defence. Obviously, again, got a guard against the counter-attack, but so many talented players on for Manchester City now. Phil Foden dispossessed, but gets the free kick.
Yeah, Kamara penalised. Fans in front of us not happy. They're all up off their feet, unhappy with Michael Oliver. Villa are going to make another change I think. They're gesturing a couple of their substitutes back in front of us. Maybe a double change to come from Unai Emery as Phil Foden stands over this free kick for Manchester City. It's just left of centre, about halfway inside the Villa half. And Aston Villa have got everyone back behind the ball, as you might expect. Vardiol's up there, O'Reilly's up there, Haaland's up there, Diaz, plenty of height in that Villa penalty area if Foden can play the right ball in. He plays it square to Matthias, now gets it back, Phil Foden. City do go short from this one. Doku on the left-hand side will cross it right-footed into the 6-yard box. It's headed down. Villa do well to defend that, and Barkley will try and bring it clear on the counter-attack, tries to feed Gessan. It's Foden back who's defending. Was that a foul on Phil Foden? Referee doesn't think so, and now it's a foul on the Villa man, and that one will be given, and Phil Foden, who's down holding his right knee, is going to get himself a yellow card.
He just couldn't cope physically. It's not his game. Defending a counter-attack in the left-back area on a rolling ball into the channel against an opponent twice as fast, twice as big, and twice as fresh.
The double change going to see Ian Maatsen and also Donyell Marlon come on for Aston Villa in the next moment or so. I don't know if they're going to wait for this free kick before they make the change, but those are the two players that are going to be introduced by the Villa boss Unai Emery. Marlon's scored goals here this season in the Premier League.
Begrudgingly, it's 1-0 to Aston Villa at the moment. You can't be anything other. A quick free kick from Kaczorek.
Yeah, chipped in towards Watkins in the penalty area, bounces off his head, and across comes Diaz.
You can't be anything other than impressed with the physicality of Aston Villa. They play firm, they play fair, and they look like the most physical team in the Premier League who can all play a bit of football. Not enough to be in the top positions, but certainly enough to beat you in a fixture.
Well, Boubacar Kamara's gone in the book for a foul there. City have got the free kick. Villa still haven't made this double substitution. Doku tries to play it to O'Reilly, who was making a run between a couple of the Villa midfielders, but there was way too much on it, and Martinez will collect, although he does that thing of just waiting for Erling Haaland to come across and then picks the ball up at the last possible moment and rolls it out to Torres. Rodgers knocks it back to Onana, and now Torres will clip it into Barkley. Bit of space for him in midfield. Ross Barkley, who's looked good since he's been introduced for Aston Villa, and just puts his foot on it and rolls the ball back into Konza, as Villa now will make this double change the next time the ball goes out of play. 8.5 minutes to go. Villa 1, Manchester City 0, and the ball does go out of play now. Torres with a slightly wild clearance. Villa want to make the changes, but Unai Emery's not happy because City took a quick throw in and the game has resumed before they can make the substitutions. The fans around the dugout not happy with something, as Cherki has it for City.
Marmoush for City coming on.
Omar Marmoush is getting stripped off as well. Good spot by Steve. So another change for City. There's going to be so many attacking players on this pitch in a grey and lime green, which is the kit that City are wearing today. Here's O'Reilly onto the ball from Doku, pulls it back. This could be the equaliser. Foden shoots. It hits a Villa man, I think in the face. It's blocked, and Villa survive, and because it's a head injury, Michael Oliver's going to stop the game. But that was a good moment for Nico O'Reilly. Bit of space for him down the left channel. Pulls it back to Foden, but Villa managed to get a body in.
Yeah, we have to really appreciate that, how good that was from Manchester City. Doku to O'Reilly, pushed the ball forward into the box, left hand side, and everybody from Aston Villa obviously got back and covered the goal quickly. So the pullback was clearly on. Well picked up by O'Reilly.
Yeah, it was Onana
that's got it in the face.
Yeah, it's got it in the face.
With Phil Foden with the shot. Unfortunately, outstretched right-footed shot instead of his trusty left, and they were well positioned, Aston Villa, for the block, and now they've got a stoppage for the face injury.
I'll just run you through those latest scores again while we wait for Onana to have treatment and these changes to be made. It's going to be Savinho, by the way, who's coming off for Omar Marmoush. So the Egyptian is introduced here for Manchester City. He's not featured in the Premier League since that defeat at Brighton in August. Played a few minutes on Tuesday night, but Marmoush is on. Villa still wait to make their changes. Perhaps they're waiting to see how Onana is. So those latest scores elsewhere in the Premier League then. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Eberiche Eze with a goal against his old club. Bournemouth 2, Forest 0. So Forest headed for defeat under Sean Dyche. What a season Bournemouth are having. Wolves 2, Burnley 2 in that battle between two of the teams at the wrong end of the table. And still here, Villa 1, Manchester City 0. 0800 218 2255 is the number if you want to book your call and speak to the former City youth coach Steve Eyre at the end of this game. What have you made of this performance? What does it mean if City do lose here today? Let us know your thoughts. The lines are open right now. 0800 218 2-2, 5-5. So Onana is okay. He's back on his feet and he's being helped to the side. I wonder if he's one of the players coming off. Not sure. Villa are now going to make this double substitution. And this is all time, of course, that will be added on at the end of this game. We've got 6 minutes of the regulation 90 to go, plus whatever is added on. Emery's now come across to speak to Onana to check. I think he's all right to continue. And the game will resume before Villa make these changes. So still they wait. Emi Martinez will now get Villa going again. Rolls it out to Konza. Erling Haaland's gesturing to Doku, saying get across there, get closer to him. Cash has it now for Villa, halfway inside his own half. Plays a long ball down the line towards Gessan, the substitute. Too much on that though. Vardiol comes across and that'll just go out for a goal kick. And surely now we'll make the changes. No, still we wait, because Donnarumma takes a quick goal kick. Onana can at least come back on. So Villa are back to 11 men, but still they wait to introduce Marlon and Maatsen. Here's Nico. Jeremy Doku for Manchester City, left hand side. City needs some magic from the Belgian. They need an equaliser. Doku infield to Cherki, plays it first time into O'Reilly. Bit of acceleration into the penalty area. Matty Cash will just clear the ball out of touch for Aston Villa. And now the changes will be made, and you can hear the ironic cheers of the supporters here at Villa Park. And the first player to be withdrawn for Villa is going to be Digne. So he'll come off, and on is introduced in his place Ian Maatsen, and Donyell Marlon will be on for Ollie Watkins up top. So the two changes for Aston Villa. And Manchester City, Steve, have got 5 or 6 minutes to try and get this equaliser. Do they look likely to do it to you?
No, but I do expect them to be on the ball for the 6 minutes, attacking against defence, so I'm obviously hopeful.
Here we go with City back on the attack. Cherki will chip it in towards Haaland. Good header from Konza. There's a good ball in towards the Norwegian. Villa, through Gessan, will try and bring the ball clear. Down goes Nico. Little push, just has to be a bit stronger there. I think Gessan comes forward towards the halfway line into Barkley. Here come Villa. Oh, Diaz does well to get a foot in. There was half a chance for Villa on the break there. Now Foden has space. Game opening up end to end. Phil Foden drives towards the box, comes out to Haaland. Now Cherki will hit it. Deflects up in the air and is gratefully claimed by Martinez. It was Kamara who got the block in.
Yeah, it's half a chance, because Phil Foden's run and tried to thread Haaland into the box, intercepted by Konsa, and the loose ball came to Cherki, who tried the first time effort stepping onto it. Probably have to say excellent defending from Aston Villa, really, and it goes against what we wish. But City are going to have another couple of goals at this, you can tell. Aston Villa are nervous but physical.
Yeah, definitely nervous there. Ross Barkley throws his hands in the air because of a wild pass that didn't come his way, and City can come forward again themselves through Vardiol. And now it's Jeremy Doku for Manchester City, running at Cash down the left hand side. Doku will turn the ball back to Vardiol as Villa Park finds its voice, trying to urge their team over the line with 2.5 minutes on the regular 90 to go. Doku skips past his man. Doku's ball in, headed away by Konza. Villa have defended well, but they're not there yet. Ball back into the City box towards Haaland. It's Konza again who wins the header, and Villa should now complete this clearance. They don't, because O'Reilly nicks it off Kamara, and City have it through Nico. Now Cherki trying to find some room. Edge of the penalty area is so congested at the moment. Aston Villa have got every player behind the ball. Diaz to Matthias, now into Nico, square to Vardiol, and now it's Doku again. Cash tries to jump in there and nip the ball off his feet. Doku's still got it, feeds into the edge of the area. O'Reilly's first time flick towards Vardiol, and it runs through to Emi Martinez, who tries to get the fans behind his goal going as he tries to encourage the crowd, but another move ends in nothing.
It feels to me Doku's the only hope. He's done great since he's come on, taking the ball, taking Cash on, and there's been nobody on the end of his crosses and his passes into the box, but he is the only one who can move his feet so quick he can get rid of the Aston Villa shirts. The rest of the Manchester City players on the attack look blocked in this last third area for Aston Villa.
Ruben Diaz has it for Manchester City, works it wide to Matthias, tries the ball into the box towards Marmoush. First chance for him, across the goal, there's Haaland, it's in! Erling Haaland has scored, but the flag is up. Haaland's down. He collided with the post as he tried to stretch out that left boot to find the equaliser, but it's been ruled out by the assistant referee on the far side. It was Marmoush's first real involvement since coming on. Low ball right across the 6-yard box. Haaland was stretching, didn't look like he was going to get there. He did manage to knock the ball in, but smashed into the post. And it's been ruled offside, and we wait for the decision. Steve Eyre.
Well, devastated really, because Marmoush has found space down the right wing, through ball from Gonzalez, and he has driven the ball across the 6-yard box on the floor. Martinez outstretched fingers, couldn't get it, and Haaland, being the man he is, stretching in at the back post, has bundled in and crashed into the post. Unfortunately, the flag went up. The best news I can bring is though that Haaland, although limping, is up where it looked like he'd done serious damage. He's up hobbling, and the sadder news is that the goal's been disallowed. But a great move from Manchester City, proving there's time yet to get through this Aston Villa defence.
It's going to be 6 added minutes here. I've seen a replay. It was Marmoush that was offside, his right shoulder, so the goal correctly ruled out. Nico's down changing his shirt on the touchline. Here come Villa, so City temporarily down to 10 men. We're entering this 6 minutes of added time there. City was so close to finding the equaliser through Erling Haaland, who was so close to scoring again, but ruled out for offside. And now Nico can finally re-enter the field, although Aston Villa have got the free kick. And time is running out, but it was good work from Marmoush there. Steve, you were calling for his introduction in the first half, nearly created the equaliser.
Yeah, not enough goal scorers on the pitch or goal providers. He wasn't in a shooting position, but he did fire across the 6-yard box for Haaland.
Oh, long ball forward towards Ross Barkley, yeah. Donnarumma's out.
We're off again, Gonzalez
brings it clear. Nico for City, challenge from Marlon, but he skips round him on the halfway line. So we've played one of the additional 6 minutes. Villa crowd him out though. That's good work from Boubacar Kamara into Marlon, the substitute. The Dutchman goes at Nico O'Reilly, who comes across, gets a left boot on it, and it's out for a Villa throw, and the ball is not in the area of the field that Manchester City want it in right now.
My worry is the way Aston Villa finished the first half, in possession for the last 4 minutes, keeping the ball off Manchester City. Is if they obviously do this now from their own throw-in, we don't get another go at their goal.
Throw down the line to Marlon up against O'Reilly. He's just going to try and play this off him in the corner flag, surely. He tries that, doesn't actually get the rub of the green, and it will run through to Donnarumma. So City will come again, but time is running out for Manchester City as Ruben Diaz brings the ball clear. They trail 1-0 here at Villa Park, searching for that equaliser. It's clipped forward by Diaz down the line towards Matthias, who's made the run. He's not going to keep that in though, just too much on it, and it drifts out for an Aston Villa goal kick. As the Villa players congratulate each other on another move, another bit of play scuffed out from their perspective, and Emi Martinez, as you might imagine, will take as long as possible as he can to take this goal kick, and Villa Park tries to urge its team over the line.
Yeah, and you'd be amazed if Erling Haaland could do anything more than a limping stride. I don't know who's going to get the goal now should we equalise.
Haaland is walking gingerly, to say the least, and it's no surprise with the velocity. He crashed into the post there, trying to score that equaliser. Goal kick from Martinez goes long. Villa have got it on the halfway line.
He can't move, Haaland.
Back to Konza. Yeah, Haaland is barely moving. City just need him to stay up there and just hope the ball drops to his feet. And it goes to Kamara again. Oh, he loses out there. Here's a chance. Foden, suddenly City into the penalty area. Where is Haaland? Foden tries to find him, cuts off a body. Nico shoots as charged down by Barkley. Now it's Diaz. City still on the attack. Matthias comes inside. He'll shoot left-footed. And that response from the crowd will tell you where that one went. It went high, wide, and not very handsome.
If I was Pep Guardiola, I'd be asking Núñez how many times in his whole life has he ever cut inside and curled his left foot into the opposite top corner. He had 5 players, attacking players, in the middle of the penalty area to either cross to or to pass on the floor to. But obviously with time running out on the clock, he decided to shoot off balance with his left foot. It was a 1 in 1,000 shot.
It was, and it didn't go in. Bournemouth have beaten Nottingham Forest by 2-0 at the Vitality. They're up to second at the moment. We've got 2 and a bit minutes of the additional 6 to play here at Villa Park. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. Barkley's been penalised by Michael Oliver. Free kick for a foul on Cherki. City take it quickly, as you might expect. Matthias into Nico. Nearly crowded out there by Barkley and Marlon, but he works it well to Vardiol, and City will come forward down this near side for us. Their left. Doku up against Cash. Well, that was a really aggressive challenge from Marlon, who's done well. City play the ball down the line. It comes off Cherki. I think he might have been caught late there. The throw-in is what's been given by the officials, and Aston Villa can waste a little bit more time with 90 seconds or so remaining. And Manchester City are set for defeat here in the West Midlands. It will be their first defeat in the Premier League since August. That 2-1 loss at Brighton. They've been unbeaten since then in their last 9 games, but that looks set to come to an end here unless they can do something in the next minute or so. Guardiola is urging his team forward as the ball's played by Vardiol to Diaz. He's going to go long. No, he's not. He thinks about going long. In the end, he'll knock it square to Nico. City down the right with Cherki in his orange boots as the rain falls at Villa Park. Out it goes to Matthias, and now it's Cherki infield looking for a bit of space. Matthias has it, edge of the area. What have City got? About a minute to go. In it goes from Cherki, left-footed towards Haaland, who wins the header, flicks it on towards Foden in the 6-yard box, but out comes Emi Martinez and grasps the ball gleefully. And now he'll just hold on to possession for a few more seconds. Martinez launches it down towards Marlon. Vardiol wins the header, and now O'Reilly has it. I'll make it 25 seconds of the additional 6 minutes to go. The Villa fans are urging Michael Oliver to look at his watch. City have it through Matthias. Still we play. Cherki inside his own half, into Foden. Foden goes down, Cherki comes away with the ball. Michael Oliver looks at his watch. Foden's challenge, Doku has it. Still time for City. Doku tries to feed it in towards Haaland. That runs all the way through to Emi Martinez. Arsenal have beaten Crystal Palace by 1-0, and the final whistle surely is only seconds away here at Villa Park as Martinez prepares to launch it long downfield towards the halfway line. It's defeat again for Manchester City at Villa Park. They lose here for the 3rd successive season in the Premier League, and they slip 6 points behind Arsenal in the title race. Matty Cash's goal in the 19th minute was the difference. It's a first defeat since August for Pep Guardiola and his players. Full time at Villa Park. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0.
Goodness me, Steve Eyre, I mean, first of all, let's give a little credit to Aston Villa. What is it that they did so well today? Of course, the goal was crucial, but you said you felt they'd turned a corner when we were talking about this fixture in the build-up. They've certainly have, and they've shown again that they've turned a corner. What is it about them?
Their style of play, they're physical players who can all play football, who are a danger from set play, whether that be physical or something choreographed. I think Manchester City have lost their way completely physically, with 4 5'7" players, left-footed and skillful, all picked in the same away fixture against the most powerful team in the Premier League and the fastest on the counter-attack. So to answer that question, obviously it is with the tone of we've lost the game. Begrudgingly, I have to concede that it felt to me that Aston Villa have picked their right team for their profile, and Manchester City have picked the wrong team to go against it.
Is that what you predominantly think this was down to today, then, team selection on City's behalf anyway?
Yeah, totally. And you can tell by the amount of changes Pep Guardiola's made that there was, you're affected by the scoreline, but you've made that many changes and personnel changes in play that you've obviously got it wrong at the start. We should also say that Aston Villa haven't scored from open play. It looked so obvious they were going to do something from their own corner. Despite their physical players, they were always going to work it to the edge of the box. Manchester City didn't adjust. They defended in their positions what looked like was going to come in for a flighted ball, and they've had no way of scoring a goal today. Clearly, with the naught against their name, Aston Villa didn't really look like they were going to extend themselves. But in the kit, Stacey, they look a stone heavier of muscle. They look a yard quicker with pace. They won't threaten Manchester City in terms of a league table placing, or hopefully in another fixture. But too many times now, Aston Villa's speed and strength have the measure of Manchester City, and Manchester City in their profile, for me, are 3 or 4 players of physicality down on the squad roster.
Blues, we'd love to hear from you. The number to call, 0800 218 2255. If you want to WhatsApp, it's 08000 321 333. To text 81333, start your message with the word Mank, or we're on X at BBC RM Sport. Blues, what did you think of today? Was it the wrong team selection? Should he have made more substitutions at half-time? What's gone wrong for Manchester City today? Or is it just all credit to Aston Villa? Whatever your thoughts, we'd love to put your questions and comments to Steve there, who's with us. That question about half-time, should he have made substitutions at half-time? You kind of expected it. You were saying you had the instinct that something needed to change. It didn't at half-time. Should it have done?
Is that for me, Stacey?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely for me. But you can understand the respect that the manager, maintains. I'll stick with it. He's the best coach in the world, and possibly ever will be. So if he goes in at half time, he's seen more than I have, and most of us. And there must have been a possibility of players being substituted at half time, but he sees them every day. He knows the players' capabilities. He probably gave a bit of reinsurance, a bit of redirection, and he probably thought in his mind, I'll give these lot 10 minutes of the second half before I make the change, which is sensible. It's easy sat here suggesting immediate change, but I never see Savinho do much or anything at all. I maintain that thought from watching him play today, and the fact that he was yellow carded and done nothing in the first half. I thought he would be vulnerable at half time, but came out for the second half. He stayed on longer than a few others, and he actually, I know this sounds like so what type of thing, but he was brilliant for 2 minutes in the second half. He got 2 corners and had 2 volleys in the same move, one that came back to him. But apart from that, he'd have been off at half time for me, and we tried to just turn it into an attacking game for us. But unfortunately, that also plays into the hands of the opponent today, because they defend physically and well and deep, and then they race away on the counter-attack. So whilst we were trying to improve, Aston Villa improved as well.
Let's have a look at some of these tweets, Steve. TJ says, poor all over the park today. City have not gotten the end of anything. Were they poor all over the park?
Well, yes, but you know, the manager has picked 4 players at 5'8", left-footed with skill. I don't know how you get that. I'm sure he's done that before, and he'll do it again. But it's not the right profile for the opponent, because you've got to play football, but you've also got to be able to run fast, run back, and take the ball off the opponent. And 4 5'8" players, and I'll name them obviously: Bernardo Silva, we love; Phil Foden, we love; Oscar Bob, we hope for; Savinho, we're not sure about. But they've all played in the same away fixture. So you've got to give the opponent some credit for how they play, but we've also helped them along by not being enough physical enough, I don't believe, and then not switched on to their other superpower, Aston Villa, to go with their strength and speed. Is they have got a set play coach that choreographs set plays for the team, and they score cleverly from corners, and they've done that, and we've done nothing to adjust. Manchester City have got a new set play coach, I believe. We've had 6 corners in the game, and we always seem to float the ball into the box now, and the Aston Villa defender heads them away. Diaz had a bit of an effort, Vardy all the same, but we don't seem to be able to choreograph our own now that Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan have left, and I don't know what's happened to the creative style of our corners.
Right, well, let's bring in Martin in Urmston. Martin, thank you for joining us on Total Sport. You may have just caught a little of what Steve was saying there. What were your thoughts on today's performance from the Blues?
I didn't catch much of what Steve was saying, but I think the City fans need a reality check. With these players, to me, they're not quick enough moving forward. They're far too slow, and they're not quick enough in mind. When they get the ball on the front foot, why stop the game, let 11 players behind the ball again for the defence, and then start passing again? It doesn't make any sense to me. And with all the money in the world that City have, the decision not to sign a right back is now biting them on the bum, I think, because Nunes is no more a right back than I am. And I think we just need a reality check that with this team and this thought process, we're not going to win out.
Steve?
Hard
do
to
you
disagree.
agree with that, or?
Hard to disagree. But I want to say before I analyse, if you like, that I still believe we are the second best team in the Premier League. So anything that sounds critical from the supporters or myself today, I believe us to still be the second best team in the Premier League. Behind Arsenal, that is. In terms of the right back, I thought Mateus Nunes, we're trying to find good news for him. We're trying to think that he's improving, but he looked exactly what he is today, a midfield sub playing right back. And when John Stones stepped into midfield in the first half, often he ended up being right centre half of a back three. This is a right midfield sub who's not good enough. So I recognise the right back situation, and the style of play has changed, and we're critical possibly of Bob's performance and his lack of end product, and also Savinho. But the style of play has changed, and there are other players, but I'll use Raheem Sterling, who used to play on one wing, and Zinchenko would be running around the outside of him all day and all night. And obviously when Mahrez was being brilliant on the right hand side, you had Kyle Walker running on the outside of him all day and all night. So that made our wing play so much better with the extra number and the extra support. We don't do that anymore either. We don't look dangerous from corners, and we certainly don't have enough physicality. We don't have enough physical strength in the team to be elite.
I said to some people, Steve, I said, next time we score from a corner, I'm going to eat my hat. So,
well, I was always hopeful when Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan choreographed something, and the ball would come in with great flight and great pace often, but then every 2 or 3 corners that would go by, you were expecting something short that would be passed to around the 18-yard box for a shot at goal. Maybe the players choreographed it themselves, probably because they are world-class players. We appear to have got a new set play coach on the staff, but I don't see any creative set plays.
No, definitely not. But very disappointing today. And, Savinho, am I right in thinking they've offered him 5 more years of a contract recently?
Yeah, just hopefully that does put some wealth and numbers on his exit, if you're asking me or wanting my opinion, because,
to be honest, I'd take him down to Tottenham myself.
70 million for Tottenham at the time seemed an absolute stick-on that we would all shake hands on that. But as everything and every decision that's made at the club, I don't know a supporter, I don't know one single supporter that wasn't wishing he'd have gone to Tottenham, but because he didn't, and we have so much faith in the club's hierarchy and our manager, and they went a different way, we have to then have a check of ourselves and think, well, if Pep Guardiola wants him at the club for 5 years, that must be right. We put all the faith in the manager and his executives, and when that happened, we go with it because he's our player and he's in the shirt and we want him to do well. But I'm pretty confident now in saying I've not seen him do anything that intimidates an opponent or gets me off my seat.
No, definitely not.
Martin, just a final question on the next Premier League games coming up. Obviously, cup games midweek, but Bournemouth next Sunday, then Liverpool the Sunday after.
I think we'll tear Bournemouth to shreds, which is good. And Liverpool will probably get beaten in the very last minute in Livar time, or whatever they call it. Slottage time, that's what they call it, isn't it? They always score late goals.
Well, they've beaten Nottingham Forest 2-0 today, and they've finished the weekend second, so they could pose a problem, and of course it could have a say in the title race potentially, certainly against Liverpool the week after. So some big games to come. Martin, appreciate your call on Total Sport. Thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's say good evening now to Yanni in Ancoats. Hi Yanni, good evening.
Hi.
What are your thoughts then? I mean, you may have heard a little of what Martin had to say, and Steve as well. Are you hugely disappointed with today? Do you think it's just a couple of things that needed tweaking? What did you make of it?
To be honest, I thought it was probably going to end up this way. I don't think we necessarily deserved to lose, but we didn't deserve to win either. So I think the result's probably about right. But when there's worries about Nico and Rodri out, I think we always suffer in that role. I think when I saw the lineup of it being Bernardo and Reinders, thought there was concerns there.
What can I just ask you there, Yanni, before you go on, what were your concerns when you saw that pertaining to those two players?
Yeah, it's just whenever we don't have that 6 who's there for solidity, I don't even think we attack as well. It's not even about the defence. There's not as much kind of courage going forward. I think Nico Gonzalez has been brilliant this season and really growing into that role. I just thought we looked almost toothless, and then on that as well, just I think the lack of threat from the wide areas is just an ongoing theme from last season.
Steve, I don't know if you want to pick up on those points in terms of.
Oh, totally. Totally. I agree. I mean, I don't know if he's heard me in commentary, and we are mesmerised sometimes by the talent of our players. But for this fixture, I certainly think the athletic profile of Aston Villa and our team, Manchester City, was a mismatch. You've got to try and give some courtesy to the opponent, whilst obviously growing your own identity and style and believing you to be the favourite in the fixture. But we played right into Aston Villa's hands, and I repeat, said it in commentary, said it to the first caller, to play 4 players at 5'8" who are skillful left-footed players who can't take the ball off the opponent against an Aston Villa team so strong, powerful and quick. I think the manager got it wrong in his selection, and I think he showed that and proved that by making so many changes in the second half.
Yanni, what did you make of the team selection and therefore the changes that came about as well?
Yeah, I think he's spot on, to be honest. I think that obviously making as many changes as he did, it's quite often we'll see Pep doesn't make many at all. So to make as many as that, I think, yeah, as I said, it's. I think he knew something wasn't right, and I think instantly when you brought Doku on, he looks the liveliest player on the pitch. But yeah, the physicality, I think Onana today was excellent, to be honest, and it was just a big.
He was out on the pitch for ages, Yanni. I just saw him on the screen earlier, sort of celebrating with his, obviously with his home fans and singing along and just lapping it up. It was about a good 5 minutes after all the other players. He was really making the most of it.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully deserved, to be honest. Yeah. I thought he was brilliant today, and that lack of physicality and whether that's kind of aggression and just power in the midfield is what we were missing.
Yeah, what is that, Steve? Yanni's just mentioned physicality. Is that sheer strength and conditioning, or is it a mentality?
Well, take it to
it can
your
be
sport.
both. Which one do you think it is?
Take it to your sport, Stacey. It's like heavyweights against middleweights. It really was. That's what, and I have to say, I think I'm being fair. It was like heavyweights against lightweights. It's basically as clinical as that. And we talk about Onana. Let's not forget the speed on the break of Watkins that we don't have through the middle. We have it with Haaland with his brawn and his prowess. But the actual jet-heeled stuff, Watkins was amazing. But I'm going to talk about Konsa at the back. Honestly, Onana, I didn't realise, I've obviously watched him play and develop, I didn't realise Morgan Rogers was so big. It was a heavyweight contest physically against lightweight, medium weight. It's the only way I could describe it. It was a mismatch physically.
Yanni? You were going to make another point after that. I just interrupted you, sorry, to get Steve's sort of thoughts from a coaching perspective on what that was down to. I mean, do you think it's physical or it's a mindset? Because, of course, we appreciate there can be the literal physical and physiological aspect, but also a mentality to use your strength. We can see much smaller players manage to stand their ground and find strength. I mean, what's the problem on your view?
Yeah, I think it's obviously going to be a factor of both, and I think obviously we've seen players like Bernardo and Phil Foden, for example. I mean, we've won the treble with them, so they're obviously capable. But there's questions whether Bernardo's a little bit past it now as well. But I think mentality of certain of the new players as well. I think Savinho in particular, some of the decision making in the final third was a little bit questionable, and I think it's just that final ball. And I think Villa defended really well, and there wasn't that kind of glimpse of magic, I think, to break it down, which we might have had from the likes of KDB or Gundogan in the past.
I actually would summarise honestly about the physicality and suggest this, not just today with my own eyes, but period. Morgan Rogers, Kamara and Watkins and Konsa would all get in the Manchester City team, such is the physical nature of them that we are lacking to go with our world-class players that we have. But we are lacking 4 in the squad that can beef the team up and cope physically, and those 4 today would be in our team, in my opinion.
Yanni, I asked Martin at the end of our conversation, I'm going to ask you the same. Bournemouth next week, Liverpool the week after, obviously midweek cup games aside, those are the next 2 Premier League fixtures. How do you see those shaping up?
It's going to be tough, I think. Obviously we're at home. for the fixtures, which is kind of a big boost. But I think it's going to be tough, and I think to even get 3 points out of it could be quite a big ask, really, because Bournemouth are in great form. Liverpool look quite off it, to be honest, but they always seem to turn up at the Etihad. So I think we've got to be disciplined and play our game, and make sure that the selection's right. Hopefully we've got Rodri coming back soon, but I think it's going to be tough to even get a couple of points.
Right, Yanni, thank you so much. Hope it's not as tough as you're expecting, but we'll see. But thank you for your honesty. Thank you very much, Yanni. Appreciate you joining us on Total Sport. Do keep your calls coming in. The number 0800 218 2255. That's after City losing 1-0 to Villa. We will be hearing from Pep Guardiola before 5 here on Total Sport. City now 6 points behind leaders Arsenal, who beat Palace 1-0. Elsewhere, Bournemouth beat Nottingham Forest 2-0. That, of course, is Manchester City's next Premier League opponent. And Wolves lost 3-2 to Burnley. Burnley with a last-minute winner. We've got Steve Eyre with us. We'd love to hear from you. So that's the number to call. But if you're not able to call, 08000 321 333. That's to WhatsApp, 81333 to text. Do make sure you start your messages with the word Mank. And we're on X at BBC RM Sport. Got plenty of tweets to get to in just a moment. I'll be putting those to Steve Eyre after the traffic and travel. An accident means that one lane is closed and there's queuing traffic on the M62. This is westbound from junction 23 New Hay Road to junction 22 Rishworth Moor. Also an accident on the A627 northbound from junction 3 at Rochdale to junction 4 Edinburgh Way. Delays on the M60 over Barton Bridge clockwise before junction 12 for the Eccles interchange. And on public transport, no trams are running between Bury and Crumpsall all week. That's your latest traffic and travel on BBC Radio Manchester, and we'll have another update in half an hour.
The Joe McGrath Breakfast Show.
Just a little announcement. The clocks go back, Paul. Ooh, are you a fan?
The clock that winds me up, pun intended, is the one in the car.
The car clock, for some reason, Paul, is the hardest clock on the planet.
It is, because you've got to go into the computer now, haven't you? You've got to get into the settings and start fiddling about with that. I just tend to leave it until it comes round again.
It's a little full circle moment.
The Joe McGrath Breakfast Show.
Weekdays from 6.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Manchester.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
We've had live commentary today, of course, of Manchester City away at Villa, the Blues losing 1-0, with Steve Eyre with us, taking your calls and replying to your comments and messages. If you want to get in touch on X, it's at BBC RM Sport. To call us, it's 0800 218 2255, and we're with you here on Total Sport until 5 o'clock. Rob joins us now in Swinton. Hi, Rob.
Hello there.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The floor's yours. Let's get your thoughts on today's performance.
There's been comments quite rightly about the lineup, what Steve said, the sort of players. That's the sort of lineup I would expect to see when I'm down in Swansea next week. That starting lineup. And there was a gentleman on earlier who was hearing where I think the contents of his hat stand as safe because we ain't going to score from a corner for ages. He threatened to eat them. It was right that in so-called attacks we don't counter-attack, we counter-amble, and then we stop and the opposition get 11 behind the ball. We don't have any players, and I'm excusing Doku on this, but we don't have any players who can run and look for the pass. First time the players look for the pass rather than cover the grass, Doku apart, and that is a reason, one of the main reasons why we don't threaten really. We just sort of push up against a tight defence and hope to thread through these eye in the needle passes rather than trying to get round the back. There's loads of other frustrations, but that's my main ones.
I totally agree with you. It's a great call that you've made. I had admiration for Reinders. I think he stalled a little bit from his great start, that one game at Wolves away, where we thought we'd got an unbelievable player. He probably is somewhere, but he's not showing it at the moment. And he was the one in the first half that I think tried to take the game off plan because there was too much lightweight football for Manchester City, and I think he grabbed it by getting stuck in a little bit and then starting to drive through the pitch, and he made 60 yards twice, but unfortunately there's nothing at the end of his work. That's not always possible, but at least he came off plan. And he ended up coming off the pitch. But I think we've seen a lesson in physicality today, and I think we've seen a lesson in speed on the counter-attack. But my real worry is this isn't brand new. This is 2 years. This is 2 years news that Aston Villa play this way, and they're getting better at it. And this is an old, almost Achilles heel for ourselves, that we don't have those, those physical driving players. I think the criticism that will come the way of Bob for having a quiet game, but he's having too many. There's not enough at the end of his work. I think he's very lucky to have a song about him, and I think he's very sticks in the memory. His very good performance at Newcastle away. But I've seen better players than him. I've not the name sung around him, around the terracing, and he seems to get more opportunities and not do enough with them. And I think the criticism of Savinho of not doing anything at all, not even showing much promise, I have to give them the tiny bit of support that style of play has changed. I said in commentary that Zinchenko used to fly around Sterling, Walker used to fly around Mahrez, and we used to fly down the wings 2 at a time, 2 players at a time, inside and outside at pace. So there's a lot of expectation now on our wide players, young players that they are, to do it all on their own, because we're trying to spread the defence out full width of the opponent so that Haaland can have some space in the box. But it's not doing much for their careers, Bob and Savinho, at this amazing club where they have opportunity, but their chances of being great players for the club, they have time, you would think, but they're not showing it on each occasion that I watch them. Reinder's doing his best to drive through the pitch, but physically I don't think we gave Aston Villa enough courtesy today. We should always try and impose ourselves with our talented players, but I really don't think we gave the counter-attack and the physical strength of Aston Villa any or enough courtesy today.
The components are there, but they're not being moulded and linked up.
And that's usually something, Steve, that Pep's been superb at, obviously.
Yes, I think I think we all want to see Phil Foden in the number 10 position, and it's happened, and at times he's going to be one of the best players in the world, but I still maintain I think his best form for the club is when he plays on the right wing with his left foot. So that would be the Oscar Bob position today, and you end up taking the ball into the number 10 position, so you are a number 10, but you're actually starting from the wide position. And I do think we need some strength. We're a Ballon d'Or player missing in the middle of the park, the strongest, most talented midfield player in the world in the last 3 seasons, give or take, obviously the year out with injury. We're missing his savvy, his strength and everything that he brings. But I think we need more physicality. I think we need one stronger centre-half instead of 4 who are all exactly the same weight. I think we need one stronger centre midfield player like Aston Villa have had today. And I actually think we need more physicality around Erling Haaland instead of these dancing footballers that we've got, who could be amazing one day, but coming up against Aston Villa, it looks a mismatch.
Rob, thank you so much for joining us on Total Sport. Much appreciated.
Thank you for your time.
Let's say good evening to Emily now. Hi, Emily.
Hiya.
So we've had a general consensus of people not being too pleased with the with the line-up and the substitutions that were made and certain performances. The physicality has been mentioned, set pieces. There's plenty to go at. What for you has been the main concern?
It's a bit strange, really, because I did a preview with 2 lovely Villa fans, James and Gary, and I basically predicted our entire lineup apart from Oscar Bob. And I thought it would have been a team that worked well against Villa, but obviously I would have said that Doku needs to be starting. He's had a brilliant start to the season, and to see him on the bench today against a side like Villa, where we struggle when we go to Villa Park, was quite a shocking thing. He tried his best when he come on to improve the game, but I think it was just so far gone at that point. He was almost at a loss, he was almost like, I can't do it on my own type of thing. I hate to echo the hate against, the stick that Savinho is getting at the minute, but it feels like almost Pep's playing him to sort of justify turning £70 million down from Spurs, and why we didn't take the opportunity to cash in on him when we did. But we just looked so disjointed today, and we looked like 11 players that had never played with each other before, and it was quite worrying to see. I get we struggle at Villa Park, but based on how we've been playing for the last couple of games, to see that today was really disheartening.
Brilliant call, Emily. Hello, it's Steve. I honestly agree with everything you've just said, completely, totally. And just in addition, we have only lost narrowly here. We have scored goals, largely in most of our fixtures. Aston Villa haven't scored from open play. They've scored from a choreographed corner, which I don't think we adjusted to. There was a concern for me, though, that we haven't even mentioned yet to add to this. Having gone 1-0 down, I did look across the full spread out, pitch and the shirts across it for Manchester City, and I was trying to work out and be inspired who could actually score a goal. I didn't think Savinho could. I didn't think Bob could. I didn't think Bernardo Silva could today. Phil Foden was trying to pass into the penalty area, didn't get any shots in today. I didn't think we could score from a corner. I didn't think Reinders could score. So of course we have got the best goal scorer in the world, but I actually also, whilst I thought the manager picked a lightweight team of 4 5'8" players who were skillful and left-footed, I don't think he put enough goal scorers on the pitch. So there must be a place for Marmoush soon, or still I think we need to acquire one, even though we've got such a talented squad. I don't really believe we've got any other players that can score an obvious goal other than Erling Haaland. Obviously, the people will chip in.
Steve? I know it might be a difficult one off the top of your head, but who could be such a player that could step in there?
Well, Bernardo Silva scored a header in midweek in Europe, and you love it, but you know it's random. You know it was not expected. Reinders scored at Wolves, but doesn't really look a goal threat since. He's actually playing a little bit deeper. Gonzalez comes on, doesn't look like scoring. Doku looks like he scores occasionally at home. Savinho doesn't look like he's going to score at all when Mahrez used to get 15 a season. It's an unfair comparison, but it is actually...
No, it's a fair point, though. And Emily, that's the point that, in fact, in the build-up we were discussing with Steve, we asked the question just before kick-off, is there an over-reliance on Erling Haaland? I mean, he's not a bad player to rely on, but is that the case at the moment?
I definitely think so. I think City spent so long playing false nine that now we've got that number 9 out and out, like you said, best striker in the world. I think we just sort of feel this need to try and get the balls to him, and it just wasn't working today. And I do feel like that it is an over-reliance, and almost we were making an observation that we were trying so hard to sort of make him score a header instead of just trying to get the goal in the back of the net. Like it can come from anyone when we're 1-0 down. Like nobody would care who would score as long as we get a goal. And obviously either get a draw or he takes some points away or play for the win. But I definitely think that I agree with you, Steve. Once Mamouche is back up to full fitness, we've got to try find a way to get both him and Haaland up front together.
Just get a goal scorer on the pitch, Emily. I mean, I'm going to ballpark figure this, but we've seen Riyad Mahrez 15 a season, we've seen Gundogan 8, 10, 12 a season, we've seen Kevin De Bruyne 10, 12, 15 a season, we've seen Raheem Sterling 30 in one season. These are huge numbers.
It's enormous, Steve, when you actually put the numbers behind it, isn't it? It's easy to think it vaguely, but when you actually, go through it like that, it's startling.
Yeah, and then now you're looking at the lads now, and you're going 0, 1, might get a couple, might get 3, he might get 4. So the numbers have dropped drastically in the style of play. And honestly, the biggest irritation for me was the floated corner, 6 of them into the box. Vardiol got 1 header, Diaz got another. But against the most physical team in the league, we've basically been beaten 1-0 by a choreographed corner to the edge of the box, and we seem to have stopped doing anything like that since De Bruyne and Gundogan have left the club and are actually employing a set play coach. So I'm disappointed with that.
Yeah, 100%. I can't help but agree. And I think that is just I think Reinders is... I think I'm just going to focus on him for a second because he absolutely played Wolves out of the park, and don't get me wrong, it's a struggling Wolves side, but we weren't to know that it was game week 1, and I feel like he's just struggled coming back off, continuing playing for City, and I think it might be because he's having to pick up that deeper, obviously more defensive role while Rodri's out. But I just feel like if we can sort of get him working with some sort of, like you said, some sort of set piece coach going on between him and whoever we have up front, whether that's Haaland or Mamouche, I feel like our gameplay will just improve massively if we can just work
Emily, could I
on
just
that.
ask you a quick question then?
Yeah, sure.
Would you consider Kovacic up to speed, his know-how, his experience, his medals, and the fact that he went through a purple patch of scoring from the edge of the penalty area, and maybe consider him a 5 or 6 goal midfield player? Would you consider him at any point?
Absolutely, yeah. He was like, when I was building, obviously when I was talking about who I thought would play today, it was a toss-up between him and Rangers, because like you said, he's experienced, he's been there before, he's played for some highly regarded teams and won so much, and obviously we brought him in for that knowledge on the fact that he knows how to win trophies, and obviously he had his injury during obviously the summer, during the international break, but he's come off the back of it now, and when he comes on he looks really positive, so I think it might be something that Pep has to think about, and whether he does start for a couple of games and just see how it works.
Me too, Emily. It's a great call from you.
Thank you very
Thanks
much,
very
Emily, and we will be hearing from Rounders between now and 5, by the way. Thank you, Emily. Let's say good evening to Scott in Northwich. Hi, Scott.
Are you all right?
Yeah, we've been talking about people's main concerns, which is understandable given the loss today. What would yours be?
I think today they were quite brave in playing Savino and Bob, particularly away from home. I wouldn't play the two away from home. I'd go more.
So brave, not in a good way, then.
Yeah. I think, and also showing a bit of disrespect, really, because Villa are just gonna. We've lost their previous. They were saying it's the third defeat in a row there, and they're quite a physical team, aren't they? So I had a feeling, obviously with Pep as well. He's a midfield man. I thought I would always go with one winger away from home myself. I thought Savino was terrible. How he stayed on the pitch until the 83rd minute, I couldn't understand it. Every time he got the ball, you're thinking in your head, he's either going to run it out or he's going to lose it, and he did. And I thought he should have come off a lot sooner, just to give Marmoush 7 minutes or 10 minutes. I thought very, very poor, really. But we just didn't seem to have any rhythm or cohesion in the middle. It felt very flat as well. We've lost that type of game under Pep many times, particularly normally it's away at Tottenham, isn't it, or somewhere like that, where we go to a game and you just know it isn't going to be our day.
A tough one, yeah.
And we lose the game 1-0. We've lost a lot of games like that away from under Pep 1-0. If it doesn't work, it doesn't seem to work. But I know we were saying the earlier call, you were discussing about Haaland. We were too reliant on them, but every single team has a talisman, but I do think other people do need to step up to the plate. But to say we're over-reliant on them, I think that's a bit unfair, really. I think we have got goals in the team. I just think we don't try and play everything through him. I think, other players need to step up, really, and they have got it in them. Myself,
and how do you sort of... if you know that potential is in your side, Stephen, and amongst your players, and you're not relying on one player, then we did see some shots from outside the box. They were pretty dreadful. I think you have to be fair to say. They either didn't catch them right or they were completely off target, etc. So, how do you? I mean, is it confidence? Is it setting up the play? What is it? How do you get those other players those opportunities and the confidence to finish and not be reliant on Haaland?
No, I think we are reliant on Haaland. I thought that was a brilliant call, but he said we're not. I think we are. I don't know if he heard my conversation the last couple of calls ago. He was probably trying to get through. He said something really identical to me, not quite the same. He said disrespectful. I said we didn't show Aston Villa enough courtesy, which is basically the same in terms of our selection today. And I also said that this isn't brand new. Aston Villa have been playing like this for 2 years and getting better at it and getting stronger and getting faster. And to play so many players today who can't work against the ball, 4 left-footed, 5'8" skillful players away at Aston Villa was folly, really, for me. And I do believe we are reliant on Erling Haaland because, sat here today doing my best to, try and be sensible about things, but also deep down I'm a supporter. I didn't think we had enough scorers on the pitch, and then I look on the bench and you see talent, speed, skill, more of it, more of the same. Cherky comes on, Doku comes on, who I thought did well, and obviously we've got Phil Foden staying on. He didn't really get any shots in today. I didn't know where a goal was coming from unless it was Erling Haaland, who did bundle one in from a yard, smashing himself into the post, but nobody else was going to score, whether that be set play, a shot from the 18-yard box, which is Phil Foden's greatest strength. And I will maintain this. I believe Phil Foden's greatest scoring exploits for Manchester City is when he plays number 7 old-fashionedly, right wing, left foot, cutting inside and scoring 1, 2 and sometimes 3 goals into the top corner, even against Manchester United doing so. When you play number 10, which people use these days as a number to describe a position, you often have less time, you're facing the wrong way, you've got your back to goal, and I believe the number count of shots is down when Phil Foden plays 10 and his skill looks more obvious, but in number 7 right wing terms he gets the job done quicker because he gets it, cuts inside and shoots in the top corner. That will never go out of fashion for me, and that would be the first thing I would do if we're trying to become an increasing attacking team, would be to move Phil Foden back out to the right wing where everybody wants him in the 10. I want him on the wing cutting in and shooting at goal and us scoring more goals.
Well, Scott, stay right there because we've got the chance to hear now from your boss, the Blues boss, of course, Pep Guardiola, who's been speaking to Match of the Day's Guy Mowbray.
Pep, just no way through today. Too difficult to break Villa down.
No, to score a goal. Yeah, we make a more than good game. We start impressive. And after we lost, when they contact with the people in the middle up front, we lose that situations. They regain or not regain that ball, make a little bit different. It's a really good team. But second half we adjust a little bit. We could control more in the middle, and we block, we crosses, we make a lot of chances, being there, and unfortunately we could not score.
What may be needed to be better to try and score? Was it just the finishing?
No, put the ball in the net.
But the overall performance, you're pretty pleased with?
Yeah, because I know we're playing with in this stadium, Villa Park, and we perform really well. We start really well, and after we drop a little bit because they contact much inside that they want it. But in general, the game second half was much better, and we pushed them. Of course, the transitions was there and long balls, and when regained they could run. They do it, but in general, our game was good.
How's Erling Haaland? That looked a nasty collision with the post.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, it did. He's chuckling at the end there because it was in a difficult region, let's say, that it collided, body part that collided with the post. I'll leave the rest to your imagination. But Scott, what do you make of Pep's assessment of today then, and obviously where the goal scorers are going to come from, and the overall performance better in the second half? He said. Your thoughts?
He said we played well, didn't he? Can you believe he said that? I can't believe he said that. I love him to bits, but we were second best in virtually every position today. I'm just a bit shocked that he said that, to be fair. I know obviously you've got the language barrier, but you can't possibly say we played well there. Like I said, I think we didn't win the duels either. I think we didn't do the dirty stuff as well, getting a foot in and competing. I think Villa were very good at that, weren't they, winning the second balls, and every player to a man sort of knew what the task was. And I think we like that sometimes, particularly away from home. That bit of guile and a bit of gamesmanship, bit of workmanship. Working back and tracking back and winning 50-50s, etc. I just thought Villa were a lot better at that. That. Don't get me wrong, Villa good side, but they're never going to win the league, are they? But what I'm saying is that they've got limitations. But I think sometimes we need to do parts of aspects of other people's games as well. Sometimes if it's not quite working, we're not attacking teams and blowing teams away as such. We just need to learn to do that, but maybe that's going to get into the players. I'm surprised Rico Lewis wasn't involved today as well. Pep was singing his plaudits after Wednesday night. He didn't even get on the pitch. What went on there, I don't know. I was a bit surprised about that. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, not ever for me. No, I think we play our best football without him. I think we really appreciate his small stature and his huge heart. I think we love the fact he's come through our academy, and I think we love the fact that the manager has faith in him. But he's not what I want to see in a Manchester City starting team, especially when Kovacic is in the dugout, ready to come on, and Kovacic at his best, or Rico Lewis at his best. It's Kovacic every time for me.
You didn't think he played well on Wednesday against Villarreal, Rico Lewis? I thought he was outstanding.
Absolutely, I'm fine with him coming in, but I prefer it when he's out. Of just being dead straight with you. Okay. I think there's 10 better outfield players. That's all worth his place at the club.
I think he'd have put more effort in today. Yeah, I think he'd have put the effort in. And
well, this is the strongest.
I think he gets a little bit out of
I will say this is the strongest team in the Premier League in my opinion. We're away from home and we play our least physical player. I know I wouldn't have done it, and I can understand why the manager didn't.
Scott, thank you so much for your call to us on Total Sport. Very quickly, Steve, can you just have a chance to come back on the comment that Scott said? We're going to hear from Reinders in just a second, but he did say he was really surprised to hear Pep say that they thought they played well. Were you surprised to hear that?
No, because I think that's become stock and trade, really, that he doesn't criticise his team. Managers rarely do these days, so it's can he get out at the press conference as quick as possible, as swiftly as possible, where a quick compliment, didn't say they were unlucky, didn't say they were great, just say that they were good, and nobody will write a headline about him tomorrow. I think we all know, because we love the game, we don't know as much as him, but I think we all know we were second best physically today. I think we were done by a set play that we don't look like we can score ourselves. I think it's obvious that he's picked the wrong team. I think the amount of substitutes he made in the second half proves that, and we didn't look like equalising other than the Erling Haaland sliding, which was offside. So all in all, we didn't play well. I wasn't expecting him to say anything other than just to try and get out of the press conference quickly that we were good. I don't think we were. I agree with the caller.
We've got Andy joining us next, but before we say hello to Andy, let's get some more reaction from the City camp and his Tijani Reinders.
Today we weren't aggressive enough, especially the first half. Almost lost every duel and gave them too much space to create opportunities, and that was the missing part in the first half. Second half was a bit better, but we know we can do much better.
It felt like the game was swaying, momentum was consistently swaying. The first 10 or so minutes you guys were electric and then you dropped off. What happened?
Yeah, that was the problem. We started pretty well, and then we gave them too much space with our pressure, and then they got the momentum and we lost it.
Was it too late for you guys when you eventually did start to dominate the ball?
Yeah, maybe it was, because I think it was after the 1-0, so it was harder, but also we didn't create big opportunities what we normally do, and we have to work on it and get better.
It's a 38-game season, yes, but you're 6 points off of top. How much will that play on your minds?
No, not much at the moment, because we know it's a long journey this season. There are plenty of games coming, and we have to go each game at a time, and we will be there.
We all know how many goals Erling's scoring at the moment, but for the rest of you, do you feel a real responsibility, yourself included, to start chipping in with goals from other areas of the team?
Yes, of course. We cannot rely on only on Erling, but as long as he scores, it helps the team. But we all want to score, and we get on the good positions, and it's now sometimes it's waiting to make the goal, but it will come.
And just on Swansea, how important is that competition going to be to you this season to get to Wembley and win that first trophy if you can in the League Cup?
It's very important. As a football player, you want to win as much trophies as possible. So this is also an opportunity to win a trophy. And Swansea, we have to be ready again.
Mark Crossley there, BBC Radio Manchester's reporter, and of course your commentator today. Alongside him has been Steve Eyre, and now we've got Andy joining us. Andy, lots to break down there, but I mean, first of all, 6 points off the top, is that a concern for you as a fan? Reinders says not at the moment. What do you think?
Not too much at the minute, because obviously, like you say, there's a long way to go, but I'd prefer to be a couple of points behind, or 3 points behind if we won today. But I don't think we should worry too much on that. Just concentrate on the next game, go back to the drawing board again, and take it game by game again. Get on a winning run like we've just been on, and see where that takes us,
Reinders talking there, Andy, about, he was saying we lost every duel. That was the physicality part of it that Steve was talking about. Gave them too much space. What were the aspects that you thought were most lacking today for City?
Well, definitely that, the physicality. Losing out on every duel, more or less. I thought Villa knew exactly how to deal with us, to be honest. After that first 15-20 minutes, I thought they just played it just right. And when they did go in front, we seemed to lack. We're a bit flat today, and we lacked ideas in the last third, I thought. And they just defended well, played, and saw the game out.
Defended well, and we lacked ideas, Steve.
Well, yeah. I mean, I thought Tijani Reinders spoke for every single one of us that has watched the game, apart from the manager. But we're never going to go against the manager. It just backs up what I said. I think he swiftly wanted to get out of the press conference with no headline. Tajani Reinders has said not enough physicality, not enough work against the ball, lost every duel. I said it all the way through commentary, but we shouldn't be surprised with the fixture away at Aston Villa. All strong, a stone heavier, 2 stone heavier, all 3 or 4 inches taller, all a yard quicker. And we've picked a lightweight team, certainly spread across the width of the front line. So I don't know who was supposed to get the ball back for us. I don't know who was supposed to disturb the play and break the play up. And basically every time we tried to tackle, we fouled. And honestly, you can get beat in a football match narrowly by a set play. That's what's happened. But the gulf in physicality today was so obvious. I'm hoping that this ends up being a positive, that it gets recognised, doesn't happen again in selection, and can be added to in the squad. Because, like I say, I maintain this. I'm being sensible. At least 4 of the Aston Villa team getting the Manchester City team today for their physicality.
Andy, we've been talking about whether there's a reliance on Haaland or not. Reinders' reply to that is yes, of course. You know, all of us want to score. That goes without saying, obviously. But, I mean, do you think there is an over-reliance on Haaland in terms of where your goals are coming from at the moment?
At the moment, I mean, yeah. But, I mean, his job is to score the goals. We play our system sort of like to play him in to score generally, although we didn't a lot today. But even so, we've had seasons where we've had the wingers and midfielders chipping in 10, 15 goals, a piece. And we do need to start scoring from other areas. But even if Ireland scores 30, 35, that's not enough goals, is it, over a season? So we do need to start maybe changing the play slightly and get the midfielders and the wingers to finish off. But
and is that what it is, Andy? And Steve, you can come in on this. Is it personnel or the way they're playing at the moment in terms of why there aren't more goal scorers?
It's the way they're playing for me. I don't know if Andy heard. I don't know if he's travelling back from the game. I don't know if he's just switched on the radio. But again, I covered this 3 calls ago, and it's a great call from Andy that Sterling with 30, Mahrez with 15. I'm using them as wide players. There are more. But they used to have Zinchenko running down the outside of Sterling, making 2 players go at it. They used to have Kyle Walker for season after season running around past Mahrez. You could get a cross, you could get cut in and shoot. And it helped and really assisted the numbers of the wide players in our team. They could become assisters and goal scorers. They were basically wide forwards. What we've got now is wingers that play on the outside of the pitch. We play full width. And the idea is the fullbacks step into midfield or give a little bit of support behind the ball. And the wingers, I am been a bit critical of Savinho, and I'm waiting for Oscar Bob to do something like his Newcastle performance of 2 seasons ago. They are actually largely left to play the game on their own. And fullbacks these days are as fast as our wingers. That's a fact. They've got a 1v1 challenge, cat and mouse. And that's how it feels. And what we're trying to do is spread the opponent's defence out, their backline, so that there's gaps for Erling Haaland. So we gain with one way, which is the Erling Haaland, goal scoring ability of being best in the world. But I feel we're losing on the flanks because we're now leaving it to 1v1 situations that nearly every fullback in the Premier League are capable of dealing with.
Andy, you've got Bournemouth and Liverpool next, and then, of course, in the League Cup, Swansea. Obviously, Mark Crossley just asked Reinders how important that is. So let's go away from the Premier League for a moment. How important is that cup competition for you?
I think every game's important, to be fair. Even for confidence, because we should, touch wood, we should be going there and winning quite comfortably. So very important. Afterwards, like you say, we've got Bournemouth and Liverpool. Now, you would say, normally you'd say, we've got Bournemouth at home, we'll beat them. But they're playing out of this again at the minute.
Yeah,
so it's going to be a tough game. And we've got to be physical. We've got to dominate them. Because if we don't, I tell you what, they can score goals.
Yeah, well, lots of jeopardy involved. Andy, thank you so much for joining us on Total Sport. We'll be chatting to Niall next. But first, let's get the latest traffic and travel. OK, an accident means that there's a queue on the A627 northbound. That's from junction 3 at Rochdale to junction 4 Edinburgh Way. Delays on the M60 over Barton Bridge clockwise before junction 12 for the Eccles interchange. And on public transport, there are no trams running between Bury and Crumpsall all week. That's your latest BBC Radio Manchester traffic and travel. It's just approaching 10 to 5.
On BBC iPlayer.
Women like us are invisible. Do you want to be in a rock band?
From the writer and creator of Happy Valley.
We sing songs about being middle-aged and menopausal.
You're on in 5.
Riot Women.
This is our time. We need to grasp it.
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Just over 10 minutes remaining here on Total Sport with you till 5 o'clock. We've got Steve Eyre still at Villa Park, who's part of your commentary team today. Thank you so much for your texts, tweets and calls. Niall, you're our final caller to wrap things up for us. You were at the game today, so let's see it from your perspective. You were at Villa Park.
Yeah, I thought City were very dominant in possession in the first half. We didn't really do a lot with the ball. To be fair, it was almost like old routines from last season, where we kept the ball too long, very slow, and not a lot of options. Villa sort of grew into the game. They grew into the game and got an easy corner routine. Left the man by himself. It was a brilliant strike from Matty Cash, but obviously City should have done a lot better. But yeah, I think a lot of players are getting caught out now. I mean, I've come on before and said that, you know, we sort of like look like we're giving players freedom, but today in particular we've seemed to have gone backwards a little bit. I don't know whether that Villa sort of put us under pressure during the game, but certainly felt like City had just fallen such and sort of bad habits really from last season. But it's not worrying. These can happen. Villa are a good team. And we haven't over the sort of last few years we haven't got a very good record there. So yeah, it's something for Pep to sort of like ponder over, I guess.
Well, I think he picked the wrong team. So I think you've covered that there. And the best thing that you said right at the end there is Villa have done this for us the last couple of years, so it's no secret. This isn't brand new. We know how they play. They obviously raised the game against us. The crowd go with it, and we've picked a team today that can't handle physicality or the counter-attack, and we've constantly been done on the counter-attack and with physicality, so we've picked the wrong team.
Yeah, I think for me though, like it's Sevilla. I don't want to sort of pick any particular people out, but it was very telling for me in the second half when Doku came on. The players lifted a little bit. They looked like they had a man to pass to. Because for me, Savinho was standing out wide on the wing, and then you got Nico Gonzalez and Reinders getting the ball sort of 25 yards away from the goal, looking at him and going, "Nah, let's go the other way and go for Doku." He looked like he's a bit more dangerous.
What I really noticed today about Savinho, and I've decided one from the blue and one from the red, just to describe it, he's got a very hard job being a 1v1 winger. He doesn't really get much overlap support from whoever plays. A little bit from O'Reilly when he plays, not much today from Guardiola, who can do it. Who can do that. So he's left to try and beat the fullback 1v1. Now, if you look at Kevin De Bruyne when he played in a wide position, and I'm going to have to say it, if you look at David Beckham, they used to stop the ball, move it an inch and cross it. And the penalty area was empty for the striker with one or two defenders in there. Savinho takes 6 touches to try and beat the fullback. Very rarely beats the fullback, and if he does manage to get a crossing at all, every time he touched the ball 6 times dribbling, the Aston Villa defensive midfield, making 8 of them, just drop into the penalty area and cover the goal. So it's just not dangerous.
Absolutely, and also as well, we know this as well. This isn't new. That the way we play, we need to move the ball a lot quicker. Because the Villa defenders must be rubbing their hands thinking, well, let City have the ball 25 yards out away from goal. They're not doing anything with it. But the quality as well was disappointing today. You got the ball there. It was almost like Nunes as well. You know, he used to be a sort of number 8, number 10 player at Wolves, and he's not showing that quality that he had there. And I thought it's not a bad move putting him at right back because he still has a bit of quality. But I'm afraid to say today, you know, when he gets the ball, it went straight to the goalkeeper's arms. And it was almost like people were sort of like didn't know what to do with the ball. I mean, an example of that was when Nico O'Reilly were in the box with the ball when Doku played it through to him. And he just sort of stood there the ball going, what do I do with this ball now? Do I shoot? What do I do? And it was almost like he was scared a bit. And
Yeah, I do think there's like I say, this reminded me a lot of last season with the habits with the ball. Really, we just weren't dangerous enough with it.
I don't think Mateus Nunes has got any vision. I don't think he sees much on the ball. So that's why you say panic, what do we do next? I don't think he's got any vision. We're trying to make good news for him that he's improving and he's got the legs. And today, I thought it was a horrid mistake, really, because he played right back. But John Stones was pushing into midfield in the first 55 minutes. And that meant that Mateus Nunes was actually right of a back three. And the idea was that Ollie Watkins, who loves running in the left channel, is that he would be able to match him for pace. Ollie Watkins was excellent, so that made it look a fail. And it also made it look for me that Mateus Nunes is a midfield, Manchester City sub, playing right back, largely playing right of a back three of a centre half. He can't do the job.
Yeah. I agree. You can't win league titles and trophies with a defence like... I mean, the full-backs, you can't win trophies with full-backs like that, who aren't naturally full-backs. And we had the chance to address it in the summer. We didn't. Pep said that he was happy with what he's got and giving cushion off. There was obviously injury moment, but giving players like that the opportunity to try and see if they can make a main stake in the team. But for me, it does worry me when we come up against better players that Nunes and O'Reilly can't deal with that. It's just disappointing. I think it could be the difference. I mean, I've come on before and said that Donnarumma's the difference. We're having a world-class goalkeeper in there who does the goalkeeping basics, but there's only so much he can do. He does assure the defence in a way, but still today, it just wasn't enough.
Do you mind if I give you my hope for the next block of games, that our next move forward? I want to see Kovacic in the midfield. I want to see him bring his experience, his know-how, his passing ability, the way he slaloms with the ball, and the way he managed to get 5 or 6 goals from the edge of the box. So I want him to bring his experience to the middle of the pitch. That's what I'm wanting next. And as much as I have clamoured for Phil Foden to be number 10, I don't think it puts him in goal-scoring positions, believe it or not. People think the 10 makes it more dangerous. I don't. I want to see Phil back on the right wing with his left foot inside and shooting, like the hat scored against Manchester United, like the goals he scored in the Champions League. I think he becomes less of a goal threat at 10, and we need to increase our goals, so he goes there and Kovacic brings his experience to the centre circle moving forward.
Niall, thank you so much for joining us on Total Sport. Cheers. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of our callers and for your messages as well. Manchester City's Bernardo Silva said to Sky Sports, Steve, I would say we played quite well with the ball. Our offensive concepts were quite good. Even if we didn't score, we had chances. We made them defend deep and they struggled in some moments. On the other side of the game, we were really bad defensively. Our pressing was really bad. We arrived 2 seconds late to every duel.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm not going to go against him, one of my all-time favourite players, but it was lightweight versus heavyweight physically, it was primary school versus high school physically, and they didn't do enough with the ball, and we've already had Tijani Reinders telling us and agreeing with us that they lost almost every duel, so it just backs up what we've seen with our own eyes.
Some of these tweets then, Kelvin says Pep's player picking has become shambles this game. Doku and Mamouche should have started. Jesse says Doku, Mamouche, Cherki, O'Reilly created our best chances and all from the bench. Mo says this is completely on Pep Guardiola. His player selection and his overthinking costs us every game. Ben says Guardiola has to understand that Bob, Stones and Bernardo are not good enough to be starters. They can only be great subs that control the game. That's what they offer. Other than that, they offer nothing offensively. And another one from Andy who says, hope this game is enough to show Pep that Savinho and Bob experiment has to end. You lose De Bruyne, others have to step up. Neither have done so in front of goal or create anywhere near enough. Cherki, Mamouche have to be put in the team. So I've bunched a few together there, but there's common themes.
Agree with every single one of them, and he's probably one of the few men in the world that we wouldn't want to challenge or argument with, because he's the greatest coach in the world, he's our manager, and he gets amazing things done right more often than not. But I agree with every tweet, and I think I've covered it in half a dozen calls here. Bob is living off a Newcastle away performance, and we're hopeful for him with his skill come through the back end of the academy, and the end product is looking like next to nothing. Very lucky to have the Terraces sing so many songs about him so loud when better players have never been afforded that, but I'm happy for him to have that if it helps his confidence, but I'm not seeing anything on the pitch. Savinho, I would have taken 70 million from Tottenham Hotspur. He's got an extended contract. He's got a hard job as a 1v1 winger. And I'm never inspired by watching him play. And I don't feel any right back in the Premier League is intimidated by his presence. So I agree with every single message or tweet. But equally, who am I or anybody else to challenge or go against the manager when he says we played good? But I'll have to stand by it and put my head on the pillow tonight and say I don't think we were. We're not scoring enough from corners. We've not got enough goal scorers on the pitch. The opposition have scored from a choreographed corner that we don't look like we could create for ourselves. And it was a lightweight battle against a heavyweight battle, which we all knew going into the game, yet the manager picked so many players who aren't good at getting the ball back for you.
Well, Lauren adds Pep doing usual Pep things. Team play well, then rolls the dice and puts the most random starting 11 together. Spent an hour watching the most ineffective wingers in the Premier League and wonder why only Haaland scores. And Louis says we are nowhere near winning the Premier League this season based on that. So some harsh criticism there. Very quickly, looking ahead to Wednesday, Swansea in the League Cup.
We go for it. We don't come off plan. There was a time where it was a real passion of us for our club. Certainly the team and the manager and the supporters follow it to get to Wembley and get that trophy and retain it. You've got to do more than just beat Swansea to do so. But I like the fact that the manager often plays, some senior players in these early rounds to keep rhythm and cohesion. And I want us to win that trophy as I want them to win everybody else. But this football team is far from obvious what its best team is yet in the Premier League. Whilst I do believe Arsenal's team and Liverpool's team of last year picked itself, I still think every single one of us, if 10 of us put together, would probably come up with 10 different teams for us.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't help us if we're going to try and be Premier League winners.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Steve Eyre. Much appreciated. More reaction on breakfast tomorrow, and Gaz and Emily with you from 6 as well. Thanks for joining us on Total Sport.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
Play BBC Radio Manchester.
and on your radio.
The sound of Manchester is
BBC Radio Manchester.
BBC News at 5 o'clock. This is Anissa Kadri. The Justice Secretary David Lammy says the government will be increasing funding for probation after a migrant sex offender was accidentally released from Chelmsford Prison on Friday. Hadish Kabati, whose crimes led to protests in Epping in Essex, was arrested this morning in Finsbury Park in North London. Kabati, who had been due to be transferred to a deportation centre, but prison staff instead directed him to a train station. The Conservatives accused the government of staggering incompetence over the release. The legal commentator Joshua Rosenberg says the release was surprising.
We're told that there are inexperienced staff who handle this sort of case. You might have hoped that a high-profile case like this would have been treated differently, that people would have looked at it more carefully. Seems not to have happened. It's the Justice Secretary, David Lammy, who's responsible for prisons. It's the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, who's responsible for deportations. So you've got two separate departments, and perhaps there wasn't the right communication between the two.
French police have arrested 2 people for last Sunday's raid on the Louvre Museum in Paris. One of the men was detained at an airport where it's thought he was about to board a plane for Algeria. The Cabinet Minister, Wes Streeting, has accused the Reform UK MP Sarah Pochin of racism for comments she made on the channel Talk TV. Ms Pochin said that adverts full of black people, full of Asian people, drove her mad, and that the average white family wasn't represented. She has apologised for any offence caused. Mr Streeting said Ms Pochin was only sorry because she had been called out.
I think what she said was a disgrace. I think it was racist, and the deafening silence from her party leader says it all. Reform is a party who think that our flag only belongs to some of us who look like me, not all of us who have built this country.
The US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the US and China have agreed the framework of a potential trade deal ahead of a meeting between the two countries' presidents this week. He said he didn't anticipate that 100% import taxes on Chinese goods threatened by Donald Trump would now come into force. The Liberal Democrats are considering trying to hold a debate in the Commons about Prince Andrew's conduct. He's facing growing scrutiny of his links to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The Prince has denied any wrongdoing. The senior Lib Dem MP, Layla Moran, said many of her constituents had voiced concerns about the Prince's behaviour.
Ultimately, we want the
Prince to be accountable for the taxpayer money that has gone into funding his lodge and the continued use of these titles that, frankly, is bringing our country into disrepute. So we feel a debate or some kind of way for him to be compelled under oath to answer questions in Parliament is the way to go.
And the weather, the rain will largely clear tonight. Tomorrow, sunny spells with patchy showers. BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 5.
Thank you very much. Here's Fiona now with the latest travel.
Thank you, Gabby. Taking a look in West Yorkshire, slow for the M62, still westbound between junction 23 at Huddersfield and 22 after previous collision. If you're heading into Rochdale, the A67M remains partly blocked, northbound from junction 3 at the M62 to Ford Edinburgh Way after an accident there. Now to Derbyshire, and we've got delays for the M1 southbound from junction 29A at Bolsover to 28 at Alfreton after previous collision. And across the Staffordshire, slow for the M6 southbound between junction 12 at the A5 and 11 at Cannock as one lane is closed because of a breakdown. The M1 in Northamptonshire remains slow northbound as one lane is closed between junction 15A at Towcester and 16 at Daventry after breakdown. And Surrey section, we've got the M3 northbound very slow from junction 3 at Lightwater up to junction 2 at the M25 turn as 3 lanes are closed after a very recent collision. Hampshire in the M3, one lane is closed each way between junction 6 at Basingstoke and junction 7. That's for barrier repairs. And across to Kent in Flimwell, the A21 remains closed each way between Flimwell and the Lamberhurst bypass. That's following a collision and a car fire earlier on today. Take a look at the trains. There's continued disruption for GWR between Exeter Central and Barnstaple after an incident. Some disruption still for Avanti West Coast and Transpennine Express in the Oxenholme Lake District area following overrunning engineering work. And buses are in for West Midlands Railway between Birmingham New Street and Hereford. Fiona McKinnon, BBC Local.
The Make a Difference Show with Gabby Roslin.
I've always wanted to go down a route of helping people, to see what difference I can make.
People don't understand, they think that I've helped them, and actually every person that I've helped has helped me.
Hi, I'm Chesney Hawkes. Thank you for making a difference.
The Make a Difference Show with Gabby Roslin.
Good afternoon to you. So coming up in this hour, we're talking Robin Hood with Maid Marian, and we're going to talk to Alan Davis about his UK tour. And we're going to start this hour with The Last Dinner Party and Count the Ways. This is for Jake, who works on the show, who we love. He's brilliant, Jake Hart, and he loves this song so much.